says you are live. Are we live? I don't know. Nothing's coming up on the phone as yet.
Oh, see, this is why I need dual monitors right here, because I can already see that we are live.
We are live. See, it's not even coming up on the phone. Look.
Oh shit! I got the volume on my other double.
If you can see us and hear us, please let me know down in the comments, because you know I'm pretty useless. And yes, I'm 10 minutes late, and it was completely my fault. But if I'm not late, it's not Scott's Inverts Live. Pretty much. Have I missed it? Says James. No, James, I'm just always late. Always late. Hey, Lexi. Hey, Russell. Let me just go up the comments to say a quick hello to everybody. Hey, Phil. Hey, Jeremy. Hey, Deadly Nightshade. Hey, Chris. Hey, Happy Ant. Hey, Rennie. Hey, D. Hey, Small Fox. Hey,
Hi.
Mark.
Hi, Phil.
Hey,
Hi.
Russell.
Hi, Leah. Hi, James.
Oh, Leah. Hi, Leah. Hey, Chaz.
Oh, not Chaz.
I know, yeah. Team.
Chaz.
Hashtag Team Chaz.
It's not. His name isn't even Chaz anymore. His name is Moist now. Didn't you know that?
Yeah.
It's Mr. Moist.
Chaz. I hope I've got everybody and said hello to everybody. If not, just say a quick hello in the comments and we'll get back to you. So this week we have DBCB EXotics on all the way from Canada, also known as Dakota. How's it going?
Well, I obviously see research wasn't taking place here, as I am in the States. You're thinking of Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles. I know we look similar.
You had a Canadian flag up, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, my... All right, points for you. There is a Canadian flag. My wife is French-Canadian. But if you see on that Canadian flag, it's actually a plant instead of the maple leaf. So a little bit different, but I see the confusion.
See, so you can't shoot me down just yet.
I'll give you half a point on that. Half a point.
You know, Canada's nice. It's got a lot of snow.
We got a lot of snow. I mean, technically, I think I'm like 2 hours from the border, so you know.
I'll just carry on digging my hole. Where did it all start? Where did DBCB EXotics all start? Why did you get into the YouTube? And what's going on behind the scenes with all your reptile breeding that you've got going on as well as?
Oh, Jesus. All right. Where did it all start? So it started when I was about 18 or 19 years old. I just had a rough going in my teenage years, left house at a very early age, had some demons I had to get over. And so at 19, I finally moved back with my family up here in the New England area. And not a cent to my name. I was actually, thousands of dollars in debt, having to start anew over again. And, my whole life, I wanted a bearded dragon. 15 years old. We stopped by my first reptile expo, and I saw a little bearded dragon with a sombrero, and I was like, "Dang, man, I want a bearded dragon." So,
where is it,
Yeah, wearing one, just right on his head, just out in the open. He was on a rock with this. I don't know how he did it, because I can't get mine to wear the sombrero. Really, that dream just never happened. 6 years later, but. Yeah, always wanted a bearded dragon. Finally, when I moved up here, I'm like, well, I need some sort of hobby, so let's finally get that bearded dragon, and he is actually down in that really big enclosure on the bottom. I had him as a sub-adult. I think he's like 6 or 7 years old now, somewhere along that. And it just kind of sprung up from there. So started with one little bearded dragon. Now it's up to around 150, 200 animals, maybe.
It always starts with one.
It always starts with one. I feel like it can't start with zero. It's not like you go from 0 to 150.
It's always the same with animals. Whatever animal it is, apart from maybe a dog, you always start with one and you end up with hundreds, whether it be fish or tarantulas, geckos.
Yep.
Whatever it seems to be, always seems to take over. But yeah, and you've gone full-time reptile breeding now as well, have you?
Yeah, full-time for, I believe I'm coming up on 2 years now, which is absolutely crazy.
How do you manage that?
Well, as you can see, this is the loveliest part of my house. I live in a trailer, right? A broken down trailer. So my overhead costs and my bills very low, right? That's step one. Step one, if you want to be a full-time breeder and you're starting out, live in a very run-down home that's very cheap. Step two, diversify income. So obviously that brings us to our next thing, YouTube. I knew YouTube pays their creators pretty well if you can get it going. I thought, number one, YouTube will pay me to make videos eventually. And number two, it's a great advertising platform for my business. The hardest part when I first started, because I first started just with Crested Geckos. I only had about 20 geckos to sell. I could not sell them for anything, man. No one knew who I was. No one wanted my geckos. So I was like, I got to diversify myself and stand out just a little bit better from the crowd, which is where I found YouTube. And so now, you know, I got YouTube, merch, Patreon, the business itself, a couple of sponsorship reels and affiliate accounts. So it's basically just a lot of income streams coming in how I'm able to do this full time.
Did you find like going into YouTube and then obviously doing like things like Facebook and Instagram kind of set you in stone for being able to sell reptiles? Kind of made people think, yeah, he does know his stuff actually, because I should imagine if you just go, oh, I've got these geckos for sale, I bred them myself, people are going to be like, yeah, the line bred crap, or just, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, obviously some sort. Yeah, that's one of the hardest, especially when we're talking about these saturated markets, like, you know, bearded dragons, crested geckos, leopard geckos, where everyone and their grandma's doing it. The best thing to do is to, you know, diversify yourself. And I feel like a business, just even like a Facebook page, something as simple as that, it can really have you stand out with a little bit more professionalism, where you're taking it a little bit more seriously than just you on your personal account showing some geckos with a little, you know, potato cell phone picture, right? So I always make sure, you know, I got some quality gear. I don't know where my camera is. It's somewhere, but I think I dropped somewhere around $800 on the camera, on the mic and everything. And then it's just taking really high quality pictures. Having that business page is able to help me stand out a lot more than the average person.
Is it just the crested and the geckos that you're breeding, or you having a bash at beardies and?
No, I just use beardies on Instagram, but we have two. But I don't know. Beardies aren't really my style. I got the one. I love my beardie. I don't like the bearded dragon community. I'll just say that right now. But right now we're doing crested geckos, gargoyle geckos, chihuahuas, giant day geckos, standing eye, tokay, cave geckos, and we're doing our first year projects with Argus monitors, Aki monitors, and tegu lizards.
Ooh, Aki monitors. What, the dwarfs, or?
What was that?
The dwarf Aki monitors.
Yeah, we got them. Well, they're buried now. We just put a lot more substrate. There's probably, I don't know, 10, 12 inches of substrate. So they're like, I don't even know where they are at this point, but they seem to really be loving the extra ad. Yeah, we've been trying to breed them. I think we got them in 2021. We got a clutch of eggs. I wasn't able to incubate full term. It was a really lousy clutch. I think like 3 eggs maybe. But so this year we're doing a little bit different. I've switched up their enclosure, added more substrate. I brought it back in the house. Some better UVB. We were using the T8 bulbs, so I just switched it to the T5 high outputs. Hopefully that does something. Higher basking, just a couple of tweaking stuff, because I really do want those red Aki eggs, man. That would be really exciting for this year.
We've got red Akis in the front room, but they're still 7 months old.
Well, funny enough, you know, I personally, I don't know, as a first time, I probably wouldn't do it, but female Akis can go at 6 months of age. It's fucking wild. Oh. I was doing so well.
That is crazy. Is it just reptiles you keep, or is there any inverts back there as well?
Hey, we do have one invert. Now, my wife is more of the invert person. We've done a lot of isopods over the years. Right now, she really loves mantises. Mantises are a thing. We have ghost mantises, spiny flower mantis, another species I don't know, and we have our first tarantula, which, as you were saying, you can't just keep one. So I bought an Arizona blonde about a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, because I wanted to get over my fear of tarantulas. I have a bit of a irrational fear, and obviously, you know, when you're dealing with snakes and people are afraid of snakes, you can't be like, there's nothing to fear, and then be afraid of spiders, right? So I got this one to get over my fear. It's going well, but now I'm looking at all the other tarantulas out there. You know, the green bottle blues, man, the green bottle blues, the blue cobalts, they're calling my name. Immediately, when I got over the fear of spiders, I'm like, all right, let's get a Goliath bird eater. Let's do it.
I would say the cobalt blue, the lividum, spends 95% of its time underground.
Yep.
So if you were to, especially so early on, if you were to get one of those, you're just going to have literally a hole, and we call it a pet hole. And you'll see its legs once in a blue moon, probably when it's hungry, and that's about it. So that the green bottle blue is the Chromatopelma Coimbubescens. Those are stunning, pretty much bulletproof to keep, because they don't require damp substrate. They just want that water dish, plenty of anchor points, and then the webbing just goes absolutely crazy.
Yeah, super. I think that'll be my next Rancho as a green bottle blue. I wanted to get the Arizona. Honestly, the only reason why I bought the Arizona blonde is because the guy said it had like literally a cardboard cutout, like he cut it with scissors. It said "Good beginner tarantula," and I was like, well, it looks like that's the one for me then.
Is your partner in the chat?
Oh yeah, here she is. She's right here. The other mantis species is I don't know how to pronounce that. It's Renee.
Got jumping spiders as well.
Yeah, she has a jumping spider too. I forgot about the jumping spider. See, we got the big spider. I forgot about the little spider.
Just pop it in quick with. Oh, cheers, Reese.
So we got a little bit of invert stuff. Not too much. Obviously, we're just mainly. I think we're like probably 70% gecko based, but there's some little bugs crawling around here and there.
If I could just get one of the moderators just to keep, I know, I think it was Steph or Callum, so thank you, just to keep dropping in DBCB Exotics channel link into the comments. That would be absolutely awesome.
Oh, appreciate that.
What would you say your favourite morph of gecko is?
Oh, like out of all of them?
So, I mean, I'm partial to a leopard. I ain't going to lie. Just standard run-of-the-mill, boom, leopard gecko.
Those are pretty cool. Are we just talking about like normal morphs or like a specific mutation on a specific gecko?
You see, now when you start talking about mutations and stuff like that, you've just gone. So you're going to have to.
All right, I'll keep it normals. I think I'm going to have to go with the cave gecko. I'm going to one up your leopard gecko because the cave gecko is basically just the alternative goth version of the leopard gecko. You got black with it's almost like a charcoal with some spots, and then you got the nice yellow banding. It's beautiful. I love them.
And then I do like the blizzard, and I like the black knights as well. We had a blizzard for a good while here.
The blizzards are cool. I do like the blizzards. I'm actually, it's with mutations with leopard geckos. I think blizzards actually where it ends. Blizzards and albinos is all I know with leopard geckos.
What's the difference between a mutation in a gecko and a morph?
I think it's the same thing. I think morph's just like the mainstream term. Now there's like genetic mutation morph, and then there's like polygenic morphs. So, or not polygenic, locality morphs. So when we're talking about like gargoyles are a good example. There's really not that many mutations of gargoyle geckos. It's usually reticulated, blotched, and striped are the two. But the basing on locality is you're going to get these stranger colors, but the colors themselves aren't genetically binded to that animal, whereas say like albinism is a good part. Albinism being a recessive trait, you have to pair albinism with albinism to get said thing, whereas with a gargoyle gecko, if it's really orange and you pair it to another really orange, you get really orange geckos. Or if you do orange with yellow, you'll get yellow and orange.
That's crazy because with the spiders, we don't go for mixing or matching or anything like that. It always has to be identical species and all the rest of it. So when you start talking about genetics, I find that quite interesting because it's obviously something that I've never looked at, and I wouldn't have thought a lot of the subscribers watching has probably looked at. I think Lizzie and Phil, Incredible Inverts and Other Animals, and Nana's Got Bags of Inverts and Reptiles. I should imagine they both have because they're quite heavily into their reptiles. Mm-hmm. So if you have the albino male and female, if you had an albino male and just a normal female, would the albinoism not carry on into the babies?
Would, but now we're getting into heterozygous or hets, and then the visual form. So if you breed an albino to a normal, what you're going to get is all those animals are going to be 100% het for said mutation. So they're going to carry that in heterozygous form, At that point, if you line breed, so if you take, the son or daughter and bring it back to the mom or dad, that is the visual form, you'll end up with 50% of those being the visual. And then I might have messed that up. I should have just kept going. You believed me. I saw your eyes. You're like, yeah, no, this makes sense. But someone in the chat's going to be like, that's not how it works, Dakota.
Oh, Chaz has got reptiles too. Sorry, Chaz, I forgot. And Leah, Unusual Pets, of course, she's going to know the morphs. She says you get a 50% chance. Phil says I prefer the wild types. Oh, Amy's got a chest infection as well as a broken lamp. Oh my God, Amy, I hope you get well. My word, Tara's in the other room actually with a pretty bad chest infection. What would you say is your favourite morph to actually breed? And have you got one that you can show us?
Oh man, I mean, talking about morphs, I got too much stuff with morphs. I think when it comes to Tokay geckos, granite is something I really want to go into. Granite, there's not much known about granite and actually how to reproduce the visual form of it. So it's something with Tokay geckos, mutations are still like the Wild West. There's so much we don't know about it. There's so much stuff that's popping up that it's kind of like, I kind of see it as like the beginning of ball pythons, right? Where if something's just a little bit different, you want to take that and try to prove it out to be something. So a lot of these stranger mutations are being passed off as normals when they actually could end up being something. So granite's one of them that I really like and I'm hoping to prove out. We've got a couple of the weird, I call them oddball morphs because I don't know what they are, but I'm hoping to prove them out into an actual physical mutation. When it comes with Crested Geckos, I'll show you one. I'll be right back. I got a really nice one. The Tiger Super Dowels are my favorite. What was that?
Will you still be able to hear us while you're fetching?
It's just right in the other room. It'll take me up probably like 20 seconds. I'll be right back.
No worries. So Dakota's just popped out for a big poo. Hi, Anton. So Chaz says, I have a Max Snow Leopard Gecko, a leatherback bearded, and a Crested Gecko. Hey, SS Spiders. Also said hello to Ellie there as well. Yes, we are PG until 9 p.m. We are PG for another half an hour, and then we can go for it. Leah says, did you enjoy your poo, Dakota?
That was a quick poo. Really just pinched it off and then try to head back as soon as possible. Oh my God, they're both in shed. Okay, hang on. This one's in shed. He's not looking nice. I brought two. I knew this was going to happen. Every time I want to show off one of them, they're in shed and they look bad. So I brought two of my favorites. This one I produced this year and is absolutely fantastic. Come here, little one. Oh, let's see if you guys can get a good look at him. So this is the Super Dow. It also has tiger stripes, but it's a little it's fired down right now. But look at all those spots, man. Absolutely fantastic. This is my all-star gecko right here. I cannot wait. So especially with the Dalmatian gene with Crested Geckos, they get more spots as they age. So this one only being around 4 or 5 months old with this many spots, it's going to be absolutely wild as an adult. I cannot wait. But this is my all-star gecko, probably my favorite gecko I produced so far because, my God, look at that. Look at all those spots, my guy.
My totem would not let me handle him at all. He's in his little bioactive. He hides away. He comes out once in a blue moon. Sometimes I'll see him for feeding.
Oh, this is a Crested Gecko. I'm pulling out my Tokays guy.
Sorry, yeah. But yeah.
One live stream, I pulled out my Tokay Gecko, right?
It
bit me. It bit me right on the finger, and it would not let go. So for about half an hour, I'm like underneath my desk trying to pry it off of me while continuing to do this live stream. And at one point, I'm like, hey, I got to like go under a sink or something, dude. This thing will not get off my hand. No Tokays on live stream. That's my rule now.
How did you get it off in the end?
It's actually the easiest way to get a Tokay off of you is actually stop messing with it. So usually the best thing, like if it's on a finger or something, I actually had one bite down on my belly button the other day, or I guess it's been a little bit. So what I do is I just lay it flat and I let go, and it'll usually let go and try to run off, and you got to grab it real quick and hope it doesn't do the same thing. But the best way is just kind of lay it on a flat surface and don't move, just like relax. And usually they try to let go because they don't want to like hold on to you. They're not trying to eat you. They just want to make you go away.
Anton, you've got no chance of seeing me handling my tokay.
What I'm doing, Northern Exotics in the chat.
Yes, Richard. Hi. Oh, nice one. Thank you very, very much, Richard. Appreciate that. Don't give him too many compliments because his head's big enough already.
I'll give him one.
No.
I'm giving him one. Richard, no. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I totally stole your chameleon cage video design. I saw that and I was like, I'm going to copy that thing to the T, except spend a fraction of the price. So it looks a fraction of it good, but that right there, buddy, that was all because of you. I was like, I'm going to do a whole background and plant it. It doesn't look nearly as nice as yours, but that inspiration, that video, I was like, I'm copying that to the T.
He stripped it down, didn't he, and put a GTP in there instead.
Oh, he did?
Oh, yeah.
Well, funny enough, this was originally supposed to be with for Jackson's chameleon, so I did the background pretty hefty. As you can see, it's a little too much. Went a little nuts with it. But it turns out I couldn't actually keep Jackson's in there just because they're part of their husbandry. They need a really cold cool-off period at night. They want it around like 60 to 65, and I can't achieve that in this room. So I was like, I'm going to get it veiled instead. So actually, I'll have to move the veiled out of there when he's a baby. He's like maybe this big.
So, do you mind talking about the trailer that you're in?
Yeah, what do you want to know about it? It's not good.
In England, we've got like the travelling community that live in mobile caravans. Then the rest of us are kind of in houses and flats. So I know there's trailer parks in America, and obviously most of us have only ever seen trailer parks as in there's Eminem's film in 8 Mile, and that's about it.
So this is actually a step up. I call it a trailer because it acts like a trailer. It's called they call it the modular home, right? So technically you can move this house. It would be very difficult. It's kind of like that in between a house and a trailer. Like it's not that stereotypical. You can hook it up to your, pickup truck and drive it out. It's not like that, but it has an open air, like it's on a concrete slab and you can just walk underneath the house.
So it's just like a static large caravan.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty bad. It was built in 1976. It's falling apart. Currently, my furnace broke down because my furnace. They said it was replaced. Right? Get this. It was replaced, but it was replaced with a model from 1994. Brilliant. It broke down. Apparently, this is coming from the HVAC people. That furnace is a dinosaur, and I refuse to work on it. So I cannot find anyone to fix this thing. We're running space heaters in like every room. And hopefully later this year, hopefully with a good breeding season, I'll have enough money to get a down payment and we can move out of here. We're hoping to head down to North Carolina.
Oh, Spider-Mom's territory.
Is it?
I think Ellie, is she in North Carolina, Spider-Mom?
I like North Carolina. North Carolina has up to like a few months ago, there's a bunch of proposals, but they have like no restrictions on anything. And I'm not trying to keep myself tied down to reptiles. I love everything exotic. And so when you see a state that says basically you can do whatever you want, that's a state I want to live in.
So we're oh, sorry, chair squeaker. We're restricted in the UK, obviously, by certain DWA laws, which is like dangerous animals. So basically anything that can kill you, we have to get specialist licenses for, or anything that could almost kill you, we also have to get specialist licenses for.
So how's the permit system and licensing over there? Because over here, depending on state, like in the state that I'm in right now, you can technically get permits for like venomous crocodilians, but you're not going to get the permit unless you're in a accredited research facility or an actual zoo.
For something like, let's say, a dangerous spider or a venomous snake or a scorpion, you can apply for your DWA license. You go to your local council, you pay a fee, you pay a vet fee. They come out, they check the animal, check your enclosure, check that you've got all the precautions up around your room, the right signage, double glass doors and locked, and then you've pretty much got it.
So it looks like you guys do it right over there.
The thing that changes from like county to county, which is like your states, but obviously a lot smaller.
Mhm.
So if I went from this county to another, the price would change, and that's it. So like in Coventry, it's 600 quid. A bit further up the road, it's 300. I've heard of prices going over 1,200 type. So the prices really range all across the country for it. But then obviously there's endangered species as well, especially with the endangered reptiles and stuff, where you do have to get specialist permits and stuff like that. Which then you're looking at, you've got to be, you've got to be a facility, let's say, or you've got to be a research scientist, all that type of stuff in that case.
That's how they do it in NC. Yeah, but like,
what's happening with the new actor? Yeah, we'll have a look at that in a little bit, James. I think.
Yeah, I think something to say about that.
We'll wait until after 9 p.m. So
that's a good point. Good point.
What I will say about that is, on my TikTok, I've duetted the Tarantula Collective, and the reason I've done that is because even though we're in the UK, if we duet on TikTok or on YouTube or wherever, the Lacey statements that Tarantula Collective has put out and Tom Rand's put out, we spread it absolutely everywhere. And if we can get everybody around the globe going like that, it's gonna put a bit more pressure on the American government, I hope.
What a great video that was. That was probably, I gotta say, hands down the best video I've articulated perfectly. Such great production value with it to keep the viewers' interest, because one of the hardest things I do here is trying to get people interested in the legislative part. People love to see my tegu lizards, my big lizards, things like that. But what they don't want to hear is the fact that, hey, North Carolina has this tegu ban. I might not be able to keep my tegus and move there if we don't do something about it. I do live streams like this. I watch my viewers drop as soon as I mention laws. No one wants to do anything about it. His video definitely got a lot more people interested.
I think it's important that people from the UK, like ourselves and stuff like me, Ellie, and Richard's in the chat as well, promote it as well as. So it puts pressure on, like I said, pressure from overseas as well. So it's like bringing everybody together, because if it comes into place, then when you do your move, you can't take anything with you, can you?
Depending, there's still a lot of stuff in the air. There's some misinformation going on right now, but I get what they're getting at, and you kind of do need that sensationalism to get people interested. But there's a lot we don't know. Like, if it does pass, this whitelist is going to be huge. It could dictate that none of my animals can move. It could dictate that some of my geckos are okay, but the larger stuff is not okay. We don't know what that whitelist is going to look. So basically what the law is stating is the big five, the big constrictors. I don't know what the monitor lizards are, but Burmese, reticulated, anaconda, rock python cannot travel straight lines with them. And now they're talking about a whitelist. And the whitelist is the okayed animals that you can travel through straight lines. So whatever's not on that list will then be treated in what's almost like a purgatory and still be a capital offense. So that's why I'm so freaked out about this bill, because if it passes, there's so much uncertainty. What animals will I have to get rid of? What projects do I have to dump now? What projects do I get to keep? Is there still enough projects that I can have and ship safely without, FWC coming down on me, where I'm still able to make the living as I am right now? A lot of stuff's in the air, and I wish people would be more involved. I think that's my big thing. No one is really taking this seriously. I can't imagine why. I mean, we had a lot more interest when the Florida tegu ban was taking place, and the reticulated Burmese pythons, when all that was taking place a couple years back. We had a lot of interest, but when it comes to this federal law that is snuck into the it's the American Something Act. It's a very
sneakily snuck in.
Sneakily, page 2,223 or something like that. They put this little thing in there. It's a very attractive bill. And if we're not really putting the heat on them, it's going to get passed no matter what. This isn't just a bill talking about reptiles. This is a bill talking what's going to help the American people with this slight little detail in there that will effectively end the reptile community and reptile businesses all around this country.
Absolutely crazy. Like I said, we'll probably have another look at that after 9, a bit later on in the stream, so we can allow you to express your inner beast on that one. I think
there's some expressions that need to be said.
So what projects have you got going on at the moment for your channel? Anything interesting?
I think everything's interesting. I wouldn't do a project if it's boring, Scott. Come on.
No.
We're doing a lot of geckos. I've really tried to solidify myself as the gecko and large lizard guy. So tokeis are a big thing that I'm pretty involved in, that a lot of people know me for, is my tokei geckos. Crested geckos we've done for years. We're branched out into gargoyles and now Chihuahua geckos. So we've got a lot of the New Caledonian stuff as well. We're getting into day. I feel day geckos are going to blow up here in the next 2 to 5 years. I see a lot of the big names over here in the States, Leap and Leechies, things like that. I've noticed they started to get a lot of day geckos, and I think day geckos are so underrated. Right now, they're like a $65 lizard. You get this beautiful, literally the realistic thing of the Geico gecko, right? Geico Insurance, little guy, it looks just like that. It's an adorable lizard, not super handleable, but a great display pet. I think they're going to blow up. So we've got some exciting stuff with that, with day geckos, standing eye geckos, and I think cave geckos. Cave geckos was another one. And then, of course, we've got the large lizard stuff we're trying to do. I don't talk too much about it because I haven't figured out how to breed them yet. When you get into these large monitor lizards, tegus might be a little easier, but it's the monitor lizards. I haven't really dialed in exactly what they need to be able to reproduce. But once that happens, I'll be talking a lot more about it.
So when you get sort of Tego babies and the larger lizards, what do you look for? Do you just put them? Will you be putting them for sale, or would you be asking, like, I want to see you set up first before I ship something to you?
Yeah. When it comes to some of these larger species, when it comes to the larger lizards, they're more of a passion project, not a business project with me. They're not paying my bills. It's inconsistent on the eggs I get, how many eggs, how frequently they breed. So it really has nothing. I don't rely on those eggs to pay my bills. So if you're getting this lizard, this lizard has the potential to grow anywhere from 3 to 5 feet long. Very athletic. The Argus monitor, very athletic monitor, needs a lot of space, a lot of care. It's a little temperamental, it doesn't have the best personality. It's a personality I find attractive. It makes my life a little bit more interesting. But I want to make sure that each and every customer I have for that specific animal is going to be fully prepared for that, and make sure, they know what they're getting into. I don't want to see that lizard 6, 8, 12 months from now pop up on a local Craigslist ad or Facebook, people trying to pass them off. Now, these are my babies, and I want to make sure they're going to their forever homes.
That's what we get a lot of in the UK is free to good home or being sold extremely cheaply because somebody's bought a Tego, thought it'd be a great idea. It's got to a decent size and they realise that they haven't got room for it, or they can't.
The Tego bites you one time and all of a sudden it's like a dog. It needs to be put down. People don't. There's too much social media aspect portraying these Tego lizards as like these cuddly puppy dogs. That's not the case. That is absolutely not the case. My Tego, he's totally fine. He likes to crawl up on me. I let him out. Something will spook him. He'll freak out, and I got to grab him to put him back in his enclosure. Open mouth gaps. And again, this is a 4-foot lizard you're holding like this with its giant jaws, gaping out, trying to bite you. It's a formidable lizard. I think they're taking a little too for granted, as just, it's the beginner large lizard. They can do some damage. I've been bitten by some tegus, man. It's not a fun bite.
That's Anton that I've just put up on there because Anton breeds green tree pythons, and for him, he will sell one. He wants to know what you're going to do with it. He wants to know the size of the enclosure. He wants to see absolutely everything before he'll even entertain you. And he's just said, now that's a breeder at my heart. Spot on advice, same as himself. Well done, nice to see.
I got to commend you for being a green tree breeder. Acclimating those babies and getting them to eat, that is no small task, man. Same with like emerald tree boas. I can expect, and it's some of those things like with monitor lizards and stuff like that, the amount of time and care and just patience it takes to get these animals going. I really think they should be more expensive. I hate the market price for some of these animals. That's why I don't care what the market price is for these Argus monitors. I'm going to be charging $800 for them. I don't care if they don't sell. I think that's what the animal's worth. That's the amount of time and patience and care I put into it. I don't want to see that animal go for anything less than that.
Northern Exotics, I got bit by a Tigo a few weeks ago at the rescue. Shoulder is still a bit black and bruised. James said, yeah, exactly. My thoughts as well, James. I would love a black and white Tigo, but I mean, he says he ain't got the room. I ain't got the room. And I think that's probably half the problem is people going, oh, I'd like one, get one, boom. And then going forward, it's like, oh, shit, we really ain't got the room. Okay, I'll just whack it on Facebook, free to good home.
I'll say I'd say I never understood that. Slap an 8x4 and put your TV on top of it in the living room. Good to go.
I haven't got 8x4 in the front. I haven't got 8 foot in the front room.
Oh. Okay, step one, you need a bigger house.
Yes, that's what we're going for. In the front room, I keep all this, Dakota. This is actually my kitchen. So we're fortunate to have a larger kitchen, but we compromise with the front room. Mm-hmm. But I can't really have. I've got the Aki in there and the Yemen Chameleon in there because our lad really enjoys them. Anything house, he will be like literally up at the glass. And if he doesn't break the glass, then that banging is also no good for the actual animal as well. Mm-hmm. So we do have to take him into consideration. We've got the European eyed lizards, and he absolutely loves them. They're in this room, and then we've got the dwarf gazers as well. He absolutely loves those. I think it's because they resemble like dinosaurs, I think, to him maybe. But he does absolutely adore them. But they're in here as well because he will be up at the glass tapping it. And it's really unfair, you know. So for us going forward, we need a bigger house, but then I need a bigger space. How I'm going to achieve that, I don't know yet. I might literally just have to try and rent somewhere where there's a garden, where the landlord says, yeah, put a 14 foot by 8 foot by shed down the bottom of the garden. That's completely fine.
That's what we did over here for these larger lizards. I mean, we can't fit them in this house. This house is about 1,500 square feet and it's filled to the brim. I got one room that it's my wife's room. I can't put my reptiles in it. I take over everything else with reptile cages. So that's what we did. We rented a plot of land that just happened to have a refurbished barn in there, and that's where we put all the large lizards and everything like that.
Good night, Amy. Amy's in a lot of pain, so she's going to go and get her head down. Northern Exotics, 100 likes, and Scott has to get rid of his TV and replace it with a huge enclosure. Richard, yeah, Tara. Good luck trying to get that one past her. Absolutely good luck trying to get that one past her.
Well, funny enough, when I first started dating Renee didn't have a TV. She had a really large, I want to say it was probably like 90 gallons. It was one of those bow fish tanks, and she had all these like really crazy like angel fish. And that's what she did. She watched stuff off of her laptop, and the whole like centerpiece where a TV would be was just this giant aquarium.
Was that a Bowfront corner tank then?
It wasn't like a corner. It's those ones that are like they're squared, but then they're kind of like rounded up top. I don't remember. I think they're called like Bowfront or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're awesome. I started off in fish. We had 15 tanks. Well, I did prior to me and the missus getting together. When me and the missus got together, I brought 2 spiders with me. And she was like, they're here because you're here. And literally, that's how it was. And then we had 4. And at 4, she said, no more spiders. She also said, never, ever is a centipede coming across the front door. And she said, definitely no snakes. And we've had all of them now. And obviously, everything's absolutely expanded. So,
you see, I lucked out hardcore because
Spider-Man.
When I met Renee, she actually had more reptiles than I did. And now it's just combined to this total chaotic thing. It's good and bad. I think the only bad thing is there's no censor, there's no, I got to talk to my wife and convince her. So I'm able to do whatever over here. And I think that's what happens how you end up with, 150, 200 animals.
I just go, I'm popping out, and then I'll come back with another spider, or I'll say to her, babe, while I'm at work, would you mind listening out for the postman? And she'll go, what's coming today? And then I'll come home, and then that's it. She's very forgiving or accepting, one of the two.
Once you have like 20 or 30, they can't tell. You just put it in the tank. How are they going to be like, no, it's always been there. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, we got the Tokay and the Cresty because of her, and then the Morning Geckos because she fell in love with Morning Geckos, and she goes absolutely crazy about the Morning Geckos. The other day, she was nearly in tears because one of the eggs had come off the glass. So I was like, oh no. So I picked the egg up, put it the way it was supposed to be, and as I've done that, the baby's actually cracked out and hatched out on my hand. And we were both like, that is beautiful. And it was amazing.
Nothing better than a baby hatching out on your hand.
Oh, mate, it's like it was one of those things. I wish I'd filmed it for YouTube, but I weren't going to go grab the camera because it's there. Do you know what I mean?
You need to experience. The first time you need to experience. The second time you got to get it on video.
I don't know how the US can ship animals. Says Northern. Hey, Jay's Jungle's here as well. Spider Mom, obviously Spider Mom 1978, and so is Reptile Innovations. They're not well. I'm sure. I think Spider Mom, like I said to Ellie, is from North Carolina. I know Derek's a few hours away from her.
It is crazy how many people are in North Carolina that I just did not know about. I've already made like a couple of friends, like probably 3 or 4 people in North Carolina. They're like, yeah, I can't wait for you to come down, man. We got to hang out when you get down here. I've got to show you this guy and this guy. There's this gator breeder up here in the north, dude. You got to meet him. I was like, where have you guys been all my life? Meanwhile, I'm up here. I can't find it. Everyone, we just went to breakfast and they're like, oh, so what do you do for a living? And I'm like, I breed reptiles. They're like, oh, I always get that. So I can't wait to move down. It sounds like an exciting time.
Jade says her boyfriend's rules is if he doesn't have to care for it, and it won't touch him, she's allowed it. Reptile Innovations, Derek, him and Spider Mom are literally 2 of my closest friends that I've never met in real life. Mm-hmm. Derek is from Ohio, and I'm just going to bring Phil in because Dakota. Phil's a zookeeper. He's exceptionally knowledgeable, especially when it comes to reptiles.
Oh, so that's awesome. That's a future passion of mine. I want to be able to open a zoo in the next 5 to 7 years. That's my goal.
Oh, nice. So when you start talking about morphs and scientific names, they're going to go whereas to Phil, they're literally second nature.
Latin. Genetics. I'm pretty good at genetics and morphs, but the Latin names I have not gotten down yet. That's my Achilles heel right now for reptiles.
I'm the opposite. I'm more, names I'm good. The morph side of things I've never really got into.
Well, there we go. We're yin and yang right now.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I say when like you said, Dakota, when you start telling people that you're a reptile breeder, and you get people going,
"Yep."
Try telling people that you breed spiders.
Yeah, that might be the only thing that could trump the breeding snakes.
You don't just get. You get.
Just walk away.
Just keep them. Oh, I'm going to burn your house down and stuff, and all sorts of things like that.
The amount of times the same people have said to me, "How many have you got?" is just it's a weekly thing. They ask me every week, "How many have you got?" Just they know how many I've got. It's just still shock value. It's still absolutely massive for them. And then they always
ask that. I don't know. I don't know what the number is. I don't know. Enough, probably.
I say 250. I don't know.
Maybe.
My mate Carl, he's got 2 different types of roaches, which are mine that he's breeding down here. And then he must have 10 or 15 additional slings that are mine that he's breeding, rearing up down there as well. Mm-hmm. And that's what I can remember. Because it changes every week, said Christine. Reptile of Innovation says he's been following you for a few years. Anybody that has been following DBCB Exotics, if you've got any questions for him, let us know down in the comments, and either myself or Ellie will pick them up.
Oh, I just want to say I'm sorry if you've been following me for like over a year, because the videos back then, man, If you guys muscled through like 2019 YouTube DBCB Exotics, you deserve a medal or something, because those were just rough days. I don't know why anyone. I go back to those old videos. I'm like, why would anyone subscribe to this?
Oh, mate. If you, one of my first videos is me going, "Hi, my name's Scott. This channel is just an absolute pile of dog mess."
It's the same thing.
I think that's all of us, though, isn't it? Everyone's channel.
It's like the camera's like too close to my face. I'm like, "Hi, I'm Dakota. I own and operate DBCB Exotics." And it's like, holy shit, dude! This guy has the personality of a brick.
Hello.
It's a little too. You gotta do. How's it going, guys? I run.
This is Scott from Scott City. And if that's not it, it's music playing over your own voice.
That's way too loud.
So when you watch the video back, you can't hear nothing because the music's.
I'm fucking dying. It's set at like 50%, and it just drowns out anything because you can't pronunciate. So you kind of talk like this. It's like uncopyrighted music just blaring. Oh man!
And then the other one is as you do more and more, it's a bit more easier. So as you go to say something incorrect, you kind of correct yourself before you say it, don't you? But the early days, the amount of time is about to go, delete, re-record. But the ones that I've deleted, I wish I kept. I wish I'd put them on the laptop somewhere, because I'd love just to be able to now release a video of just bloopers, because I do thousands a week. So over the course of the last 2 years, it would be absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott's Animal Adventures. Oh, somebody's just messaged me about mature male they've got. Brilliant. So when it comes to just going back to your gecko breeding, is there anything specific that you've got to do? For the majority of what I keep, we can literally put the male and females together. There is a lot of the tarantulas where you have to run the females through what's known as conditioning. So that's running them through the seasons, that type of thing. Do you have to do the similar stuff with the geckos? Do you have to warm them up, cool them down, or?
For most of my geckos, it's pretty easy. It's kind of the same thing. You know, we do a cool down period in the winter time, and so I have a space heater plugged into a thermostat. So we keep the temps a little bit lower, usually around the 70s. And when I want to start pairing, which is around now, we bump that up to 75. Mist a little bit longer, so it emulates the rainy season. So it's like springtime. And that usually gets them all going. We've had pretty good success without having to do like anything too crazy.
So do you know when you mist, is that just keeping the area damp? And
yeah, pretty much. So we usually mist just to get the water droplets and get the individual enclosures retain a little bit more humidity. And then we also have, just because wintertime is so tough to keep humidity, and most of our geckos here are tropical, so we actually have an entire humidifier that just goes off in that room, trying to keep that ambient humidity in the room at around 40 to 50%.
So that substrate's just slightly damp, not saturated.
That's hard to tell people. That I had a pet sitter when I actually took a trip down to North Carolina. My wife has family. I don't know what misting means to some people, but to that person, it meant completely flood. Oh, you got the camera rolled out? Don't put it that close to my face.
Onto the face.
I'm gonna get snacked in the nose.
Thank you,
Who else thinks Dakota's definitely punching above his weight there?
Dakota.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. That's her little baby.
Literally just waiting for Anton to see what he was going to be putting, because I
want that.
We've got 1 minute, and then then the swear words can flow.
Oh man, I can't wait. I've been bottling him up.
Leah says you're pretty cool. Dakota is cool. If you watch his videos, he's literally he's like an American film. He's pretty cool, and I should imagine. Let's go there. What's your music taste, Dakota?
Oh, geez, what does my music taste look like?
You better be hard rocking.
Yeah, I'm pretty much anything. So whatever my music taste was when I was about 13 to 15, so all like the emo stuff, alternative, post-hardcore. It hasn't evolved since then, so I just keep listening to the same bands that aren't around anymore and just play the same music over and over. From being like a 13-year-old to now 26 years old, it's the same stuff.
It's 9 p.m. It's 9 p.m.
God, they got to get the PG people. They got to be set on a timer, huh? Right at 9, the internet needs to cut off.
Pretty much. We do at 9 o'clock. We say that's a cut-off point. So swear words obviously are going to leak out now. So if you've got children watching, best remove them or turn it off.
Or deal with the consequences.
Junior's going to learn some new words for school tomorrow.
What's the face tattoo say?
Face tattoo. It has a devotion across my eyebrow.
Is that just?
What was that?
Is that a romantic notion or is it?
No. So I've been sober for fuck. Oh, I can say it now. Yes. That slipped at like minute 8, and I'm like, oh, this is bad. But yeah, I've been sober for 7 years now. 7 years. So it's my little way of remembering, to stay clean and not go any of that bad stuff. Not that I have the money to at this point. The reptiles like my new addiction. I got no money for anything else other than taking care of these things.
Dakota, I'd just like to say you're with quite a couple of recovering addicts that are in the chat. You're also chatting to one as well. 7 years clean myself.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, man. But you say you haven't got the money for it, but for a while, just like I do. If you want the money, you go get it, don't you? Even if you have no money, you always find money.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, and I think it's why animals are such a huge, amazing therapy for recovery, and why anyone who's ever thinking about getting clean, you guys should get some sort of pet, whether that be a dog, a cat, a small animal like a rat, or a reptile, because you're not only just caring for yourself at that point, because let's be honest, when we're recovering addicts, when we're trying to go through that, we don't give a shit about ourselves. I didn't care about myself. I didn't care if I lived or if I died. Who cares? But it's that animal that keeps me going, that life depends on me now. I can't go back to my old ways because what's going to happen to that animal if I do? So that's really what keeps me going and keeps me healthy and moving forward.
I think for me, it was keeping an animal first and then finding the missus and the children, doing all that business. Because I've got kids previous, but I'd hate to think what they thought of me back then. I know what they think of me now, which is completely different. But back then, do you know what I mean? It must have been horrendous. Sort of going to visit Daddy, and Daddy's shaking a little bit, and all the rest of it. But can't go back, can we?
I think that's the strangest part is with family. Now, granted, I don't have any kids, but parents and things like that. It's a little odd, and it's actually something I don't think about too much, is that they saw all sides of me in being in the addiction state for years. And I get mom, you get the mom tearing up every now and then and hugging me and saying, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, for what? I'm just, it's just next week, but it's that huge thing for them that you don't really think about anymore.
I think getting clean and then coming off the streets and stuff like that, it seems to be, like you're saying, a bigger deal for everybody else
than it is for you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was grateful enough to be able to move out of state. So I went from Texas to New Hampshire. And I think that was a huge thing where, I wasn't able to get to my old contacts because, they're 2,500 miles away. But yeah, a whole new set of people. I don't talk to anyone else from Texas anymore like I used to. And I think that was a big thing. But I couldn't imagine having friends still that saw me back then and then see me now. I think that would be a little strange.
I do. I've still got friends from the street. I've still got friends that I used with. But the thing is, for my mental health, I used to do a lot with them and say, look, let's get you somewhere. Let's get you sorted out. And that really, really pushed my head backwards and really got my head thinking, I really want to just be on the streets again. I want to just go, fuck it, let's fuck life off again and let's get smashed. And
It's
I've
easier.
discovered
It's
going
much
forward
easier.
that you've got to leave close friends that you've got almost in the past, haven't you?
Hmm.
You know. But this being homeless, it's where you create a bond with other people that's so strong that even sort of 8 years later, you know, I still think about all of them. And there's probably, there's not a day goes by where my mind don't slip back to them. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I remember 4 or 5 dudes posted up in a Motel 6 with 2 beds. Every day, each person gets the bed and each one gets the floor. Those are some days.
Oh, we were in town, away from cameras, around the back of an abandoned nightclub, and you've got metal staircase. So it had all barbed wire on it, but we had a little back because if you go around the back of it, you could jump over it. So we did that, and then up the top, we put sheets up around the edge where the fire escape would come out, and I'm not quite sure if it was a mattress or what it was because the girls used it to make money on. You know what I mean? Every now and again. So we were there and little bits in town and sleeping in the day, not at night, because if you slept at night, you get half your stuff nicked.
Yep.
Then going into hostels and stuff like that. I think the spiders, well, let's say animals, because, you know, you've got your geckos. Phil's got loads of bits and bobs, and other people in the chat have got other stuff. I think they give you a focus. They give you, I've got to stay clean because if I'm not, who the fuck is going to look after these?
Exactly. Yep.
And then with having this responsibility is what moved me on to sort of having a family and responsibility, a stepdaughter and, you know, own kids as well now and what have you. But then Tara's my other half. I call her the enemy because every time I get something new, she whinges at me. And when she was pregnant, she was a nightmare. So she's known as the enemy. But Tara's fully aware that, you know, I come in here and it's purely because I can't handle family life. Mm-hmm. At certain points, my brain doesn't really understand it all the time. So she cherishes the moments where I'm all loving and everything else. But she knows that, you know, most nights I'll come in here for an hour or two. And she knows it's me just sort of more processing the day and processing the fact that where you are in life instead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like another world. The reptile room is a very special place for reptile keepers. It's like our own little oasis where, like, everything out there, that's where you leave all the bullshit. You leave the bullshit at the door, the bills, the money problems, anything like that. You can just go in and you take care and you look at some geckos, man. There's nothing better than that.
Yeah, totally.
I can't work out how to do it. I can't take the Scott's inverts bit out of the corner so we can see Ellie better.
We are God in that room. Yep, that's the truth.
Is it God? Is it God we feel like? Definitely something. It's
like a mix between God and a slave. Yeah.
It's having some control over something, isn't it?
That's another great point. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in life that you can't control, but you can control what's in the animal room. Sort of thing, or that sort of thing. Yeah, this, that, the other. And so.
Yeah.
You can't, Phil.
But there's certain things you can't control in life, but you can control, like how you keep your animals, what animals you got. And be like, I'm going to do this to close her up.
Because when you look after an animal, you're doing it up. So I think that whole process of researching and caring for and making sure that animal's got everything, I think it impacts your life as well. So when you go forward, you're also looking after yourself a bit better.
That's a good metaphor for that, yeah.
Presenting yourself maybe a bit more better.
I always feel better when my animals' enclosures look better. So, like I talked about in the beginning of the thing, we just got a bunch of stuff for this bearded dragon. We're going to do a completely planted bioactive vivarium for him. It's going to look nice. It'll look nice on videos, and I'm just going to feel like, dang, look at that. We just did that for that little dude.
So the missus has just popped up the shop, so she's just bought me 2 cans of Coca-Cola.
Oh, running a little low.
She
here.
knows,
I'm at a quarter.
on the lives, when you talk a lot, you know exactly how it is. You do need a drink, and I do drink quite a lot on the lives.
Yeah. Your throat hurts if you don't.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to bed.
Okay.
My head.
All right.
Good night, Tara. Love ya.
Right.
Hold on. If I do this.
Yeah, Scott. So probably 4 years ago or so, I did another completely planted with a lot of succulents and everything like that. And my bearded dragon trampled and ate all of that stuff. So we got a little bit better plants that I think will be suited a little bit better. And we also got some river rocks to make some sort of like a barricade between that. But we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, it was about 20 or 30 bucks for a bunch of like small little plants. If they go, they go. It'll make for a nice video at the end.
If they go, it's enrichment.
Exactly.
It's enrichment. You can always get more.
Christine said night as well.
When I had a black and white Tego, I used to just buy 2 plants from the garden centre and put in for her just to destroy.
I've seen people with tegus. They've been planting, the cat grass, like the little wheatgrass stuff.
Yeah.
They like plant all the seeds in there, and it grows fairly well. Now I'm thinking I might try that for my pair of tegus. That'd be interesting.
That's our spiders. I might do a video on that next month, but just bear with me.
I'm still writing your speech.
There's never been a huge amount of info on my life piece. There's some, but yeah, it's.
I'm privy to a bit more information on peds, on centipedes. To be honest, like the banded one, the Nigerian one that's coming out on Thursday. Their habitat is so vast; it's unbelievable. You can set them up 3 different ways, and they absolutely thrive.
Just call me.
Yeah, Christine said night as well. And there's another locality that's been found in Kenya, but it's actually illegal for them to export it. So if you see a blue coloured one, that's going to be
a lot of East African stuff's illegal.
Schoolwork and video to film. Much love. See you later, Christine. Take care.
Christine.
1978. Yeah, Tyra's got a headache. We've had a lot going on this week with the little and seizures and hospital visits and appointments, and she's had a lot going on, as you know, quite a few people that are close to her know. Like,
Can centipedes chew out of rubs or take
Yes.
the lids off?
yes. To chew out of a rub takes a long time. So the advantage of that is we can see the marks before they actually get through. The tops of rubs, my God, the first one I ever had, a Dahani, I put it in a baroplast, and I've put the lid down as it's pushed up against it, and the strength that they've got is absolutely incredible. So they can definitely pop the lids off. It's happened here as well. We've had a Dahani escape. This was 2 years ago. And since that point, I've always gone for security measures, to say the least.
That's crazy. That just a little thing right there can pop that lid off.
It's type of
They're strong. They're strong.
I love you too.
I know a UK zoo many years ago that had 2 at the time what was thought to be the Scolopendra gigantea. 2 of those escape out of the double enclosure,
Mm-hmm.
and then were found a few months later in their restaurant.
Wow.
Don't squish that. That's a good bug.
Just it was like escaped during the summer or whatever, and there was an enclosure within an enclosure because they were like, we don't want these escaping, and they chewed their way out.
Wow.
This is in a zoo, a fairly prominent zoo in the UK, and ended up in the restaurant we were found when the cooks pulled out a big, basically like soup pan to start doing the winter menu, and there was just these 2 massive Scottish in the pan, and they're like, what?
Jay's just said, what enclosures do you do for them now? I've got one literally just here. Tony Webb sells them. So does Custom Aquaria. I think Custom Aquaria actually makes them.
They make them, yeah.
I think Custom Aquaria and Tony Webb sell them both at the same price.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Is that a tag still on his chair?
Yeah, had it for Christmas, so I still got the tag on it. So as you can see, you got one lid is a slide out lid.
Oh.
And then there's another lid there. The mesh at the back, that's double mesh and it's metal. But the Nigerian banded that's in here can get his fangs through that double mesh. Actually. And it's not made one dent. It hasn't took any of the paint off or even scratched that mesh as yet.
Only tries and hasn't been able to damage it at all.
That's what's been going on in the UK. I think Custom Aquaria and Venomous Visions have kept centipedes in these for several years now, haven't they? And they feel with great success.
So Matthew came up with design a few years ago because I got one of his first ones, which is sort of roughly 30 by 30 by 30. As one of the first ones he built, and he built because there was a centipede that constantly was escaping at a college, but they had it in one of his coffin tanks, which he was like, "Do not put a centipede in this because it's not designed for centipedes." Sort of thing. And he kept putting a big old scolopendra in, and it kept escaping in a college. So Matthew, he's never kept centipedes. He was like, right, let me look into trying to make one that I can sell as a centipede secure tank. And so, and then the whole idea of the double lid, when he first told me about it, when I first looked at him, is that you can put food on top of that double lid, put the lid down, and pull out that second
and it just fall through.
So basically, it takes away any need for, or some need, for actually sticking anything in the tank, kind of thing, and stuff. And it's just a way of like, yeah. I don't get. They are decent tanks, and yeah, it's just a bit.
I think they're awesome. I've got that one, and then I've got a massive one, which I'm waiting until I've got the funds for something to go in it. So fingers crossed, later this year. Jay says I was too scared to get one in case it escaped and happened to get the rabbits or the guinea pigs, but I've been thinking about them recently. Jay, just go for one of those enclosures. Go see Custom Aquaria or Venomous Visions at the show. They'll both go over that enclosure with you, so you feel secure about it. And if you still don't feel secure, then don't do it. Don't get one. But there is what's considered beginner peas, like the flagtail. I think it's beginner very cautiously, but because you've got so many animals, somebody like yourself, Jade, is just going to be completely fine.
My first centipede was a Suspinipede. That's my first ever centipede.
My first one was a Dahani, and it was sold to me for 15 as a Suspinipede.
Yeah, I had that way before I had like.
Don't put me in the spotlight. I don't even know anything about centipedes.
Not yet, but you've got the spider. So over the next couple of years, you can guarantee other inverts are definitely going to start coming into your collection. If you start watching some of the channels that's watching the live at the moment, most definitely.
I can see more tarantulas coming in for sure. I definitely want to get more into them. It's just a matter of space over here. But as soon as we make the move, I'm trying to put a halt on buying anything else. We've got a couple stuff that's on hold right now that I'm just waiting for temps to warm up. But after that, I don't think there's going to be any new animals in 2022. Just all that money going for a down payment on a house. And then we'll continue expanding.
Sounds sensible. Yeah, Derek says, "Oh my god, I can't stop buying them." Derek has got a lot of room over his though, and he does build. He builds custom enclosures for things like tigos, snakes, and other reptiles, and he takes in quite a few as well. He does quite a lot of rescuing. So he's recently taken in one with a missing foot and all sorts. Incredible work.
That's awesome. That's like the number one thing I can't wait when I move is being able to have like some three season outdoor enclosures for my big stuff. Because right now, I'm not too partial with the enclosures they're in. I know I could do better, but it's just the fact, we're moving in like 4 or 6 months. I don't want to build these massive wooden enclosures, then break them down, stuff like that. But as soon as we get over to North Carolina, we're going to be making some really big, like 10 by 10 outdoor setups for the big guys. It's going to be awesome.
That sounds absolutely incredible. Have you got any at the zoo, Phil?
What's that?
Any of the big lizards?
Largest lizard is Rhino Iguana.
Rhino iguanas are awesome. I want that, or some Lewisii, or the Grand Cayman iguanas. Those are something I'm really interested in.
Yeah, a friend of mine runs, or he's like, I think he runs the centre for the blue iguanas on Grand Cayman Island. He runs the conservation project.
That's awesome. Yeah, iguana. I'd even like a green iguana, just one big male. I know the attitude. I know it's an awful purchase decision, but I just want one big male I can check out. Don't even need to go in and interact with them. I just want to set up a really cool, tall, enriching thing, and I can just watch the iguana move around.
Yeah. I mean, we used to have a male green iguana many years ago, and he was absolutely lovely.
Really?
He would come up to you for a scratch.
That is insane. They seem to be like really personable. Like people give them a bad rap, but like I've seen like some Instagram videos, like they can be kind of like dogs. They have their like little, especially during breeding season, they've got their days, but they're cool. I like iguanas.
I find my experience with iguana, and it's not like extensive or anything, but for me, it takes time. It can take years. It's understanding their signs. So like the Rhino iguana, if she starts bobbing her head, I go out the enclosure.
Yep.
And then she's learned that if she doesn't want me in there, she bobs her head, I go away. Sort of thing, which negates any need for her to run away or try and whip.
Tail whip, anything like that.
Anything like that. Which means, she's really comfortable with us going in there. When at first, she didn't like anyone being in the building. Sort of thing, she would just hide away. And her old keeps at the zoo she was at, they're like, I show her videos of her now, and they're like, "You've changed her so much. What have you done?" Sort of thing. She's a completely different animal, and I'm like, just giving her space and giving her time. And so, I find with green iguanas, for me, they need the space, they need the height, and so, and then just.
I also think they need the size. I think trying to work with them too soon when they're still at that baby. I don't think I find it much like tokay geckos. When tokay geckos are babies, you're not going to get any work done with them because they're scared. Their only defense mechanism is to run away. And I think it's kind of the same with baby iguanas.
And that size, they're a prey species.
Exactly. Yeah. There's everyone's snack. Yeah.
Everything's trying to eat me, so I'm gonna run away. If it grabs me, I'm gonna bite it.
Yep.
But yeah, I just find I think a lot of the time any reptile that's deemed aggressive, which I don't deem any of them aggressive, it's just
misunderstood.
Often I think give them more space, and chances are they'll actually be a lot calmer.
Yep, exactly. That's what we like to do that here at Tokay Geckos. We've changed a lot of minds about Tokay Geckos having the stereotype of being the junk animal, the demon gecko. We've changed a lot of people's minds and show like this is a really intelligent species, comparatively speaking, to the former leopards or cresteds. They're a really amazing species to work with, and just not so much. I've never when it comes to interaction, I'm not too keen on it. Doing this, I don't get off by holding the lizard and making a calm lizard. It's not what I'm in it for. I'm in it to see how it reacts and how it moves, and just observing it. That's my big thing. And being able to look at that gecko in its eyes and see stuff's going on in the head. That's what I love. So we do that with tokays. Arguses are the next thing. People hate the Argus personality. We're trying to change their minds about that and show that these guys are really awesome.
D's over in Mexico just made me laugh. He just says, my ex was charged by every iguana we encountered. Should have taught me something.
We had a male field dragon, and he hated my wife. We also have a male. I'm actually going to be setting him up in here. We're hoping to get another Zen Habitats enclosure for him, a nice big tall one. But I miss the problem with the frills is it's really awesome watching. I know it's not good. It's a stress signal, right? But the problem is they're pretty easy to calm down and get them habitualized. And then I don't think I've seen my guy frilled after like a couple of weeks having them here, and it's kind of a bummer because it's a really awesome thing to see. That beautiful. Now we have a New Guinea, so it's not that really rich red frill, but still, it's awesome to see the different colors in it.
Yeah, agree with that.
I think that's how you know your animal's happy where it is. New Mexico he's in, sorry, New Mexico. Because with the tarantulas, you see a lot of videos on YouTube and a lot of pictures, threat pose, threat pose, threat pose. You see it with the snakes and the cobras; they're always up with their hoods out and stuff like that. I think we forget to appreciate the fact that when these animals are calm, they're not in threat pose, they haven't got their frills out, the hoods are actually closed, and that's how we should be wanting to see them. Do you know what I mean?
Well, not to talk out of my ass, because that's what I'm about to do, because I know nothing about venomous. But I do believe that the reason why they want the cobras to be hooded that much is because it's easier to read them when they're handling with them. So you know around where that animal is going to strike, where its eyes are pointing at. Whereas if it's like calm and slithering around, you could get that, you do a quick jerk and it doesn't like that and immediately tries to bite. From my understanding, from what I've seen, I don't know. Again, I could be talking out of my ass with that. Maybe they just want them to look cool.
I suppose when they're calm and they're moving like this, they're going to go any direction. But when they're hooded and they're up, they're literally going to go forward in that direction.
Yeah, you can get a better read on the animal.
And you'd hope that's it. Yeah. Are cobras the ones that would Phil might know this one, that bite through their bottom mouth to actually bite you?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I think that's gaboon vipers. They have some of the largest fangs.
That's the largest fangs, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gaboons. That's gonna be my guess.
What do you want now?
See, I'm not gonna lie, the king cobra, I'd love to be in the same room as one. I'd love to be with a couple of experienced keepers. I'd probably be pinned to the door because I'm absolutely petrified of king cobras. But I would like to have that experience.
This is puff adders that can bite through.
The puff adders.
Puff adders.
Yeah, see, I'm the same way. I don't think I'd ever own venomous. Like, I do like some rear fang stuff. I really like mangroves and the false water cobra, but none of the big boy snakes. I don't trust myself. I'm going to mess up and I'm going to end up in the hospital. I can already tell that about myself.
So we can have false water cobras and hognose, which are, as you know, both rear fang venomous. I don't know about the mangrove.
Yeah, if you can have false water, you should be able to have mangroves. I believe false water is a little bit more
potent used to be DWA, but they're no longer.
They're beautiful. They're probably one of the most beautiful snake species, in my opinion.
What made them DWA? How come they took it off DWA?
I think the venom potency, they decided it wasn't strong enough. Something like that. You'd have to ask someone who made that decision of why to take it off. But a few years ago, a lot of animals were taken off DWA for various reasons.
That is crazy. In America, that would never happen. There would never be there's no animals getting off of a list. It's how many more animals can we tack on? I don't think I've ever seen a situation where, like, over time, it was like, you know what? These things don't really need to be on here.
I think that brings us back to the old Lacey.
Yeah, I think it's about time. Yeah, and plus with any Bodega, it's the fact that they've got to, like, unless you're like allergic to bee venom, then you're not going to have too much of a reaction. And I mean, they got to like chew. That thing's got to be latched on and chewing for a good little bit before it's going to cause any problems. Like one bite, it's not going to do anything.
But that's it. I mean, yeah, if you was to make them DWA, you'd probably have to make bearded dragons DWA.
Exactly. That's a lot of things people don't know about. That bearded dragons are slightly venomous.
Yeah.
So is Yaki.
Yep. Well,
yeah, I think it's been shown all varanids pose some sort of venom.
Yeah, there's still some people argue it, but
it's bacteria in the saliva. But yeah,
but pretty much, yeah. As far as I'm aware, as I go with that, yeah, all varanids are venomous. I mean, my mum got bit by an Aki, and she was like, well, it looks just like a snake bite. She was like, there's nothing there, but her whole arm swelled up.
Really?
She felt ill. She went blue in the lips.
I saw, you guys probably watched Brian Barczyk. You saw he got bit by his little whitethroat, and you said he was having some pretty like severe, dizziness, head pounding, stuff like that, just for like, little, I don't know, 13-inch whitethroat bite.
What part of his reactions could you put down to just pure anxiety, though? Because anxiety can bring on the symptoms that you've just described there. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good point. I'm constantly feeling dizzy through anxiety.
Exactly, yeah. I get dizzy as well. Especially if something negative's happening. So if you get bit by a snake that you thought, oh, this might have a little bit of venom in it, I might be allergic to because I've never had it before. You're gonna get that dizzy,
on your
and
head.
your heart's gonna be going boom, 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 boom. So to distinguish between what's actually symptoms from the venom and what's symptoms from anxiety,
it's like the placebo effect. That's what I was thinking of.
So fantastic band, by the way. It's going to be so difficult for somebody to sit down and kind of work out what the symptoms are. I
think to just play the devil's advocate, I don't think he knew that they were venomous. I think over time, after the incident, he talked to the guy and he was like, well, whitethroats do have some venom. But I could be wrong. Like you're saying, it could be either or.
Plug my phone back in.
I was like, was that mine?
So the Lacey Law. So we get second-hand, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 10th hand information. We get stuff that's exaggerated by the press. We get the information that's the most shocking delivered to us in the UK, especially when it's coming from America, because if it's more shocking, the more people want to watch it.
It gets more clicks.
So if you're not an animal keeper, how do we get animal keepers to watch this part of the news? We'll pick out the most shocking part.
Yep.
Which for us at the moment is basically this part of a bill is going to be coming into Parliament, could be passed, where animals cannot travel from state to state. If you have animals and you want to live in a different state, you've got to leave those animals behind. And that's pretty much the news that we're getting over here is that. And then if this law comes into play, everything, all the reptile breeders in America are all going to crash, and all the rest of it, there's going to be animals that need to be put down left, right, and centre, or put into the countryside, as one of the biggest fears is, which is one of the things that this act's supposed to be stopping. So what is the truth, Dakota? What is happening?
So I might not be the best guy. I've not done super thorough, actually read into the paperwork of the actual legislation. Most of my information has come directly from USARK, but there's a lot of sensationalism, like you're stating, of that. And I've got a lot of people messaging me stating, like I had a Patreon member that I'm keeping a couple geckos on hold for winter, and they were really worried that I won't be able to ship those geckos now as soon as this thing passes. So there's a lot of like almost hysteria. It's this weird split between there are people in complete hysterics about this bill, and then there are people that absolutely do not care, not going to lift a finger. It's just not going to happen. I'm not even going to think about it. But the truth of the matter is, at least from my understanding of reading this, and again, my information is just coming straight from the USARK website, is the fact that what this bill is trying to do is reverse the wind that we had on the Lacey Act. So not all animals, if this bill does go through, not all animals are immediately going to be banned. Number one, this bill is going to starting to take effect next year in 2023. And the big part of this is reversing that legal wind that we banned. What was that?
I thought because there was something to do with the fisheries where the actual part of that bill would be effective as of the point it got signed off.
I could be wrong about that. I could be wrong. I haven't read that. But from my understanding, the first part, and maybe this will be just for the first part with that reversal, is the fact that the big five, right? That being reticulated pythons, Burmese pythons, anacondas, and the northern and southern rock python. I do believe there are some monitor lizards on that list as well, being the blacklist. I can't remember what species there are. So that would go into effect, right? And then what happens is the whitelist needs to be created. The whitelist is basically going to be the okayed reptiles, right? And that's going to be specifically done by Fish and Wildlife. They're going to be able to okay what animals are, number one, not injurious to people, not life-threatening. Number 2, invasiveness. That's a big thing they want to worry about. What animals can live in Florida? So our iguanas, a lot of our tegu lizards, a lot of the snakes. Really, if anything in Florida, that's a lot that can go on that list. And that's a lot of things that's up in the air, right? It's not going to be something where all of a sudden I can't sell my geckos and ship my geckos. It's a lot of, well, what are they going to put on the list? What are they going to take off of the list? And now the most important thing, the most really threatening thing that people need to be aware of is the fact that this law, and I'm going to paraphrase because I don't know the exact legal jargon about it. Basically, what's going to happen is, if this law goes through, it gives Fish and Wildlife the power to deem what can and cannot ship through state lines. There is no more legal process. There is no more going through Congress. Fish and Wildlife now has the power to make some sort of emergency hearing where they can take things off the list and put things on the list, put things on the black list, the white list. It gives them full power. It really just overthrows our legislation projects and our rights as people, which really brings us to, it's not just a reptile problem, right? Number 1, it's more of an animal problem. Parrots are going to be affected. The fish community is going absolutely wild about this bill. Pretty much anything that's not a dog, cat, and the stereotypical farm life. So even exotic farm life, emus, ostrich, peacocks, things like that, they could also be affected by this bill. It's an American thing. And I know a lot of you guys are from the UK, but America, born of the free, we have our rights, rights of the people. That's slowly being taken away, and people just don't seem to care about it.
At some point, if it gets passed through, that's for sure.
What was that?
It will influence our government at some point in the future, that's for sure.
Exactly. You can see that from a smaller scale about states. Florida passed this tegu ban, and now it's slowly going up. And it's been shown South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, they're looking at Florida as this kind of like this note, this key light, because they don't know how to traverse the reptile hobby. These are senators, congressmen. No one knows about the exotic community. So what they're doing is looking at Florida and saying, okay, well, if they did it, we should do it too. And I imagine that's going to affect, at a much larger standard, the UK being like, well, America's doing this. Maybe we should do this as well.
It's been the last few years in the UK.
As almost a side note, but I think it's quite relevant, is if your fish and waterways have then got the power to go, okay, this is going on the list, this isn't going on the list, without going to Congress, then surely that then opens up the doorway for other authorities to go, well,
we can do that as well.
We want to be able to change this and this whenever we want to, just like the fish and waterways are. So surely that's got to be getting the whole of America thinking, oh shit, hold on a minute. If we say yes to this, we're pretty much fucked.
It's not. That's the crazy. I see so many Facebook posts. This thing's getting plastered everywhere. And people are like, we're overreacting. This thing's not going to go through. It happens every couple of years. Here's the thing. For the first time, from my understanding, the first time, I'm not trying to state anything as fact. I could, again, be talking out of my ass, have my information not 100%. This bill is just right in there, right? Little paragraph in page 2228 or something in this really amazing bill that's really going to help out the American people. We're giving a large, I believe 4.5 billion is going into research to try to compete with China, something along those lines. There's a lot of stuff that's like good for America and what we want. And there's this tiny little thing that's pushed in there. And if we don't do it, it's this tiny little thing on paper for the American public, but it's this giant thing for the reptile community that will essentially not destroy us immediately, but within 4, 5, 10, 15 years, we will be so diminished and so trapped in this little box of what we can and cannot breed, what we can and cannot ship. And it does, again, it's not just affecting the private sector. Zoos are going to be affected. My bird's going absolutely insane. I don't know why. Zoos are going to be affected. Conservation efforts are going to be affected with this. If you can't... I don't know what's going on out there.
They're getting it on.
When my bird, when I get a little heated with arguments, my bird picks up on that. He's a rescue, and he was in a really bad abuse thing, a lot of yelling, screaming, physical abuse of him. So he kind of like freaks out whenever I raise my voice and talk a little louder. That might be it. Might be triggering for my blue and gold macaw.
D, who's over in New Mexico, says, as far as the list is concerned, our only reference at the minute is the previous list they've already tried to ban, which also includes tarantulas, scorpions, ball pythons, etc., etc.
if we lose, as much as people don't like ball pythons, if we lose the ball python trade, reptile businesses, the reptile community in itself is essentially over. Ball pythons, at least in America, are such a huge influence on the market. They're one of the biggest, when we're talking about full-time reptile businesses and the money in the reptile hobby, it really stems from ball pythons. Ball pythons gave this giant jump in the reptile community and still holds as the number one breeding thing if you want to be full-time in this hobby.
Fingers crossed. There's enough pressure on them for the government to say, well, you need to take this Lacey Act out of this bill before we even take it any further, before we even look at it. Maybe. I don't know, when is it. When is it going? When is it going to Parliament?
I'm not entirely sure. The most updated information I have is that it passed Congress and now is going to Senate, but I don't know anything after that.
So Congress have agreed to that, Lacey Act.
Congress has signed off on it. So now it's about locating or contacting your local senators all across the country, telling these guys, hey, there's this little part in there. We don't want this to get passed, And that's the thing. We don't want the bill not to pass. We just want this extradited out of the bill and its, the speech.
Fingers crossed. Like I said, fingers crossed that all works out in your favor. Hopefully USARK get the information that they need to.
It's terrifying, I mean, it's especially being full time in this, I'm uncertain what the future of my business is going to look like. Like, am I going? And the problem is I always have a plan B, always have a backup, Reptiles have been getting under attack a lot. And I've always thought to myself, if this gets too heated, if we start losing too much stuff, I can go to parrots. I've hand raised anything from a cockatiel to a macaw for years for a person. I can breed and hand raise parrots and sell them. They put parrots in there. My backup plan, my plan A and my plan B is all tied together in this. Anything with exotics. So it really has me concerned. I'm strung out. I'm not sleeping very well. Obviously on Friday, I don't know if you've heard, we're hosting a charity stream starting from 3 to 9 Eastern Standard Time, trying to raise some funds for USARK. Pretty much doing everything I physically can to try to make this not happen, because if it does, I'm so uncertain to what my future is going to look like in this hobby.
D says it's passed through the House and it's now in the Senate now.
Yep.
I wonder, like you said, I think if it does go through, it's at some point it will affect the UK hobby. I know there's tarantula exporters over here that export to America. So it's going to affect them. It's going to affect us getting spiders from America, I would have thought. Stuff like the Hogna Miami, because that's not going to be, obviously, they won't be able to bring it over here, will they?
Yeah, it's huge consequences that a lot of people aren't thinking about. That, I mean, again, this isn't even just America. Like you're saying, it's worldwide that are going to take place. And I can't imagine. I'm wondering how. Take a look at like the big box stores, right? The Petcos and PetSmarts over here. These giant retail facilities aiming for animals. What's going to happen with them? Are they going to be compliant with this, and are we just not going to see live animals in pet stores anymore? It'll only be reptile or pet supply stores at this point. There's just so much uncertainty what the future is going to look like, and it all hangs on what these old geezers in suits and ties say, and it's infuriating.
I think as far as the big companies like PetSmart and that over there, I think it would pay them wisely to put a lot of money together to get a very, very high-powered, well-known lawyer, and then go to USARK. Look, this guy can help. Here he is. Boom, free of charge. Just sort it out.
Because as far as I'm aware, there's no specialty permit. There's no big box store and zoos get out of jail free card for this. It affects everyone, essentially.
Exactly. Night, James. Thank you for joining.
Bye, James.
The language is so
exactly,
vague.
Yeah, the language is very vague.
Dogs and cats, hamsters, ferrets, and small animals. It seems bizarre because, iguanas are all the way through Florida. I mean, you often see catch them all fishing, trying to catch iguanas here, there, and everywhere. Then obviously arowanas, alligator gars as well.
I was just about to say alligator gars. It's really been a lot of vagueness. You know, it's not just this bill. North Carolina tried to pass something similar, and the language in the bill was basically exotic animals limitations. And it's like, what does that mean? You know, we're talking about big cats, elephants, bears, wolves. You know, it's like dangerous and exotic. I'm like, that could mean so many things, and it's such a blanket statement.
And the word exotic, the interpretation of the word exotic is down to what the waterways and fisheries, what they would deem as exotic.
Exactly, and it's giving them all the power, which is such a breach of like just our core values as American citizens, what we believe in. It's just slowly being taken away, and it seems people just don't care anymore. The American public has become so complacent that the government puts so much trust in the government as well. They're doing the right thing. Meanwhile, we are so this is the part where I forget words, right? Corrupted. Corrupted is a good word.
Has there been any rallies or protests about it? Because we haven't seen much in the UK television.
To take that one step further, as far as the social side, you know, the influencer side of this, I have seen very little creators talk about this bill. We have New England Reptile being in the forefront. They are always good when it comes to legislation and telling the people about it. We have Clint's Reptiles, and of course, the Tarantula Collective. Is that the right name for the channel that made that video? Yeah. Those were the three I've seen so far.
Tom Moran Tom's Big Spiders. He did an amazing podcast, which the Tarantula Collective is referred to as well.
All right, so we've got 4 out of the tens to hundreds, all these pet tuber channels with hundreds of thousands of people watching them. Snake Discovery, 3.2 million or something subscribers. I haven't heard a word about it, not even a mention.
Have you heard Paul Cafaro say anything? He's at 2.2 million.
Nope, nothing. It's all these larger creators. I don't know why they're staying silent about this. And it's so mind-boggling because it affects them. I know people like Brian Barczyk and Snake Discovery, they have their own private zoos now. It still is going to affect you. It's going to affect everything around your business. Why would you not be telling the public about this and getting people informed about what's going on? It makes no sense to me.
Do you think they're worried about possibly what YouTube could clamp down on people for?
The only thing that can make any slight sense, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, people hate talking about legislation. The Tarantula Collective is the only channel I've seen, and I haven't having a chance to watch that podcast, but that's the only video I've seen that really does it right and keeps the viewer engaged. Whenever I talk about it, anything legislation, laws, when it comes to reptiles, it gets poor views. It performs very poorly on YouTube. The retention rate's really bad. All in all, it makes a bad video. Now, as hobbyists, and I believe we as influencers in this reptile hobby have some sort of responsibility to kind of make way of, oh, well, this isn't going to do good on YouTube. You still got to say it, you know? You got to be in the forefront of it because whether you like it or not, you guys are the face of the reptile community, and you need to shine to make sure you still have your living. Is YouTube going to be as great? Or people aren't going to be watching so much about the bearded dragon care guides, the enclosure setups, because they're not going to be able to have these animals anymore?
D says Brian Barczyk won't say anything. He has a private zoo license. If you have a private zoo license, is it still going to affect you? Because if not, then
I think it's still well. Again, I might have misheard it, but I believe this is going to affect zoos just as much as it's going to affect the private sector.
Because if it doesn't, then that's probably why Brian's not saying anything, because he can sit on all these animals with his private zoo license and go, you can't keep them, but I can. Boom.
But let's take this one step further. What about BHB, his reptile breeding business? I mean, granted, it has been slowed down and he's downgraded a lot of it, but he still has to be producing hundreds and hundreds of snakes. That still is some sort of a financial revenue for him. Is he going to be able to just cut ties with all that? But for what? Just to not mention the law that's already a big buzzword right now in the reptile community? It does not make any sense to me.
And what's he do with everything that he has got? If that
exactly, those thousands and thousands of snakes in there, what's going to happen with them? You know, what are you going to do with them now?
SS spiders once. Says I'd hate for someone to enforce that law in the UK. This is a thing, if it gets passed in America, then like Phil was saying, it's definitely something that our government will definitely look at. Probably not within the next year or two because they're still all COVID crazy.
It gets looked at every 2 to 3 years. It gets looked at.
At that point, it's just a ticking time bomb. It's that fear factor of, well, when is this going to happen to us? It happened to America. It's only a matter of time now. It's like putting off the inevitable.
Yeah, last time is where, a lot of it stems from like animal rights groups, like Born Free and stuff, and over here the APA.
Is Born Free still going?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you guys got PETAs over there too?
Essentially, yeah, just our own versions of it. So things like APA, Animal Protection Agency, they heavily attack the reptile hobby, sort of thing. One of their leading people is an ex-reptile importer who could breed nothing but mites. And somehow, in his wisdom, decided, well, if I can't keep reptiles because he got banned from it, then no one should be able to keep reptiles. And comes up with all these various so-called qualifications and PhDs and stuff that he's never done. And things. But they go down, they're well-funded. And that's always the thing. Animal rights is well-funded.
Yep. HSUS over here at PETA, they are well-funded. They've got those beautifully made, sad commercials, and people just pour money into them. So they're able to do all this lobbying and be able to get these large bills passed with such ease.
They get celebrities on board.
Yep.
And celebrities are often more willing to support them than they are, say, a welfare group, which is, like, look, let's just promote good welfare.
Yep.
So, and so, if you, every now and then they try and, it comes up every now and then of like having a positive list for the UK, which would mean that if it's not on that list, it's illegal to keep. Sort of thing. And at one point, I think a few years ago, there was going to be maybe 8 species on that list of any animal. Apart from like, farm animals sort of thing.
Yeah.
That you can keep as in your house, sort of thing, or in your private, as a private keeper type thing, or which obviously cat and dog was going to be 2 of them. Sort of thing. So there'd be another 4 species that you would legally be able to keep at one point.
Yeah, we had Massachusetts was very similar with that, where they had the laws here were very strict, and it was very like, just a couple of species. Now, I believe it's been a little bit now. I want to say the mid-2010s potentially. We did get a couple of stuff added to that list where it wasn't just like you can keep 3 species of snakes and that's it.
Yeah, and that's why. So luckily, every time it comes up, so far in the UK, we've been able to say, look, no, and be able to go. They're showing false information and stuff because they come up with extraordinary claims and stuff. And stuff and it's like, what?
I think we're a bit more lucky in the UK because we're such a small country compared to America. Therefore, our government needs to make money wherever it can. So the reptile hobby and our pet shop chain stores that we've got in the UK all give the government a turnover financially.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't see the government saying halting everything because the money that comes out of the reptile industry that goes in their pocket must be insane amounts of cash.
Money talks, and it's one of the few growth industries is animals, is pets.
Yeah,
especially reptiles and stuff like that. And the UK is now one of the leading countries for the research in terms of like the lighting technology and stuff with the likes of Arcadia and stuff. That we're then selling that to America. And so I'm selling that around the world, so that's money coming into the UK.
That's the only positive that we've got really in defeating it here, if it came into play here, is the fact that the government need cash and the reptile industry, animal industry in general is providing a lot of money. Yeah. Plus, if they said if they put a ban in similar to what's going on in America, if they did that here, the amount of people that would put out of work would then cost our government millions upon millions upon millions. I mean, what would you do with Tricross Zoo? What would you do with your zoo, Phil?
It's a difficult one. It's a very difficult one because, I mean, we've been affected by, by Brexit and stuff. Has affected all zoos in the UK and stuff, and, in various other things. I know a few years ago, I think Sweden, where pretty much, I can't remember if it's, reptiles aren't banned, but their food is banned. You can't buy live food, and you can't buy frozen rodents or any things like that. It's something like that. It's some really weird where they're like, yeah, we're not going to ban that to animals. We're going to ban everything that you can feed them, sort of thing. It's something like that. But it's something really, really silly or whatever. And there's like someone who has to go across the border into Norway or whatever to go and get food for his animals and stuff. And everything has to be sort of hush hush because if he's found with stuff, and it's like, that's ridiculous. And there are some countries where animal keeping has just been outright completely made illegal. And it's only, you can only keep a cat or a dog.
Which is absolutely mind-boggling, because at least here in the States, cats are one of the most invasive and destructive animal.
Apart from humans, the most invasive animal is a cat.
Exactly. They've killed hundreds of thousands, wiped out hundreds of species of birds, just like native bird species in America, hundreds and hundreds extinct just because people let their cats outside. Just for that small thing. But no one talks about it. No one wants to say anything about it. It's a taboo subject.
That's it. Well, it's just like, technically, in the UK, it is illegal to let your cat loose outdoors. Because you're releasing a non-native animal into the wild.
It's way better than what we're doing. It's almost encouraged here as enrichment to let your cat outside.
Same here. So there is sort of more push for like catios and stuff, and some people feel no. It's stuff that is never enforced because, of course, people have their cats, so no one would abide by that. It was like being like, we're gonna fine you or arrest you because your cat's gone down the road, sort of thing.
It's a tough one, yeah.
If a non-native species, it is illegal in the UK to release non-native species into the wild, and you allowing your cat to wander down the road is releasing it into the wild. So if they wanted to, they could, but they'll never enforce it.
Yeah, but
and no political party put their name in manifestos because that's political suicide.
They would have to arrest every single cat owner in the UK.
Exactly. So it will never ever be enforced.
Because of screaming crazy cat. Is it only 30 extinctions? I thought it was more. I mean, more than one. One in itself is too much.
Over 30. But like some of the stats you see that come out of like the amount of wildlife, just in the UK that's killed by cats, not necessarily even pet cats, feral cats.
Yeah, feral cats that are just reproducing now. I mean, it's literally an invasive populations of just wild cats have taken over, and no one says anything. No one says a thing about it.
It's crazy. In the UK, you can't have a gun, obviously, but you can have an air rifle, and you can shoot on land with the owner's written consent, and you can shoot pigeons because they're classified as vermin. Mm-hmm. You can shoot rats, even rabbits, but you can't shoot a feral cat.
Yep. What's the squirrel doing to you? What's the pigeon doing to you? Cats.
The pigeons are evasive there, and their poo is carcinogenic. The grey squirrel is responsible for destroying acres of trees by stripping the bark.
And it's non-native. It's an American squirrel.
And for
you're welcome, guys.
and for wiping out the red squirrel, apparently.
Yeah, one of the reasons that.
Night, Mark.
I was Mark off. Night, Mark. So, same like the American crayfish, the signal crayfish. So, has just destroyed some of our waterways.
There is so many crayfish, the red signal crayfish in our canals. It's unbelievable. I stopped fishing 20 years ago as a proper hobby, and the amount of crayfish we pulled out of the canals then was immense. So now it must have tripled, quadrupled. And for us as anglers at the time, if we hooked a crayfish or a zander, it was illegal for us then to put it back into the canal. We had to dispose of them.
It's illegal because they're non-native.
Yeah.
So as soon as you've got it in your hands, it's illegal for you to put them back. It's the same with grey squirrels, same with mink. As soon as you've got that in your hands or trapped somewhere, it's illegal to release it.
Yeah, Florida has a similar thing with Burmese pythons. If you touch a Burmese python, you have to kill it. Wild Burmese python. You can't. If you touch it, it's your problem. You have to deal with it. If you don't, it's illegal.
Yeah, you got to either keep it in captivity or euthanize it. Yep. But there's always loopholes. You can get a special license because squirrels are cute, so you can get a license to rehab a grey squirrel and release it. Even though it's like, well, no, either keep in captivity or euthanize it. It's non-native.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. I was
going to say, so they want to make stronger grey squirrels.
Sort of thing.
You want to make sure we have a 100% success rate of this invasive species.
Sort of thing. But yeah, if it's cute, you can get a license to be able to rehab and release, and it's like, well, no, just have it blanket. That's not native. We need to sort those out.
Yes,
I mean, that's why catch-all fishing gets quite a lot of negativity, don't he, on his comments when he's out and he's iguana hunting or he's looking for the snakeheads and he's shooting them with a bow and stuff like that. Even the snakes, invasive snakes, people don't get that it's completely illegal to do it, and why?
But I think I don't know what channel you're speaking of, but I've seen some really messed up ones with it becomes like, yeah, there's legality, you're fine there, but what's the morality? Like I've seen people scald iguanas, they tie them up and they scald them under hot water and then kill them. I've seen them like break the animal's legs, just like
this is
sadistic stuff.
Shoot, kill. Literally, this is instant humane. Not
at that point. Yeah, I have no problem with that because, like you said, it's an invasive species, and if it's out in the wild, now you could make some money on it. I don't know why. I mean, personally, with Florida, I have a couple of Florida tegus that were caught in the wild and brought to me. They're my breeders right now. I actually have a girl that's just paired with a captive bred male that we're trying to get some babies out of. You can make some bucks on there. Just take it and then ship it somewhere else. But no, Florida Fish and Wildlife isn't for that. They just want it dead.
Yeah, that's it. You could, let's take them into captivity and ship them somewhere where they can't be invasive, sort of thing, where the natural climate there is not going to be sort of suited to them and stuff. But yeah, no, I haven't watched it, but I know a lot of those channels got out as like even place the animals there to shoot.
Yeah, they staged it. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them are staged, aren't they? Where it's like you go through a few of them, it's like, well, that's the same animal as that one.
Yeah, New England Reptile did a bit of a little report on that, where like they looked at the pattern of the snake, and it's like this is literally the same snake in 3 separate videos, caught in a canal, the sewers, in this place.
So some of it's like there's a problem there, but some of it's also been a bit sensationalized by some of those.
It's not sensationalized, then it's not news.
Well, that's it.
It is. The news is always got to be more exaggerated than what the actual truth is. Otherwise, nobody's going to watch.
Oh my God, the news stating there's like tens of thousands of Burmese pythons in the Everglades, yet they can't find more than like, I don't remember what the number was. It was like 60 or 100 they've been able to find, but there's 10,000s up there. When we went over because I was a really big part in trying to get this not past the Florida tegu ban and the large snake ban, right? They were stating that the Burmese python can live anywhere up this eastern coast, starting from Florida and going all the way up to like Maryland. Maryland is pretty close to where I'm at. My winters get anywhere from 20 degrees to the negatives, and they're stating a Burmese python can live through that winter.
Is that 20 degrees Fahrenheit?
Fahrenheit, yeah, sorry, not Celsius.
What's that in Celsius? Is that like negative?
Hang on, let me Google it.
That's
Negative 10, is it?
20 Fahrenheit to Celsius. Let's see what we got here. Negative 6.6.
Yeah. It'd be lucky.
It'd be cold. And we're talking about for months. We're not talking about like in the South where winter's a month, 2 months. No, it starts in November, right? And it gradually gets colder until around April. That's what, 5 months of this winter that the snake's supposed to survive in?
See you later, Ellie. Oh, Leah makes a good point.
Yeah.
The stress of that one snake being taken to multiple places.
No, exactly. And then they're tying it up. They're like, I don't know what I don't watch those videos. I can't comment too heavily on it other than what I've seen. And I just think they're dumb at the end of the day. I think it's all sensationalized YouTube clickbait.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Such a minuscule number. 10,000 Burmese pythons spread out. You cannot. There are herpers, experienced herpers going out in the Everglades. They would dream to find a fucking Burmese python, and yet there are thousands upon thousands of them out there. Like they're gonna trip over one every couple of feet. So.
It's also like in some ways it's almost become like almost like an urban myth. In some ways, like just all the hype over it. And stuff, and you hear so many different stories and stuff, and you're like, well, I don't know what's true anymore.
We had up here in Maine, we had Nessie. Nessie was a green anaconda that was apparently surviving in the March winters. Now, if you guys know anything about green anacondas, they're too heavy. We need to have a large water source for them because they actually can't support themselves on land for long periods of time. So Fish and Wildlife in Maine was stating that this anaconda was able to live 6-7 weeks out here, going into these small river banks to support itself in these frigid 20-degree temp waters, where they found at one point they found a perfect anaconda shed laid out in the woods, 100% 20-foot shed, not a nick on it. And the specialist that the government hired to oversee this, a cryptologist, someone that studies fake creatures, was put in charge of this green anaconda scare. What was the purpose of this? Well, thanks to the whole Nessie anaconda scare, anacondas, Burmese pythons, reticulated pythons, rock pythons, large monitor lizards, a bunch of stuff back in 2012, 2015, I believe, were then completely banned from Maine. You can't get them, can't even own them, no way for permits. They were just outright banned of this mythical snake that was, by the way, never found. They never saw this snake. There was never a sighting of this snake. All they had was this random shed that I believe turned out to be a rock python or Burmese python shed. It actually wasn't an anaconda. They couldn't even get the species right. They just put a large snake shed out in the woods and said, "This is it."
We get similar fantasy stories in the UK, like with Nessie, Loch Ness. They've literally scanned the floor bed, haven't they, of Loch Ness, looking for this ginormous prehistoric creature that apparently lives there, and they still haven't found nothing. Yet people still go there looking for it. You think,
hey, that's fine. That's fun. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay is making up a green anaconda that's surviving in the winter to early spring stages and then banning it.
But I accept it was actually a real snake. Local here, a retic escaped. Which, of course, media love to sensationalize that because it was a retic. They went suddenly, oh my god, it's this huge snake. It was a male dwarf retic that had escaped.
Probably like this big or something.
So I got caught because of where I work. They were like, "Is there any chance they could send me out with this radio reporter to go knocking on doors down this street looking for this snake?" And I was sort of like, I've got a day off. I fancy a laugh. Why not? I fancy a laugh. I'm not going to find it, but here we go. Let's go down there and see what happens. And he goes, "Oh, so the house where it's escaped is down there. So we'll start at the top." It's like, "Well, I ain't going to be up here." Sort of thing. If the house is down there, it's probably in his garden or next door, sort of thing. And like, of course, it was like, no. But of course, they're like, "Oh, it's this 10-meter snake that's going to eat your children, and eat your dog, and eat this, that, the other." And it's like, no, it ain't. Sort of thing, and stuff. And constantly, it was all, checking your bins. I was like, well, how's it going to get in the bin? How's it going to get in the weedy bin if the lid's on? It's not going to get in it.
It's going to open it with its arms, obviously.
In the news, and they were sort of like, it's going to be found in your washing machine. Look, how the hell is it going to get in your washing machine?
I'm surprised they wouldn't say check your toilets before you take a shit, because it might be in there.
It all goes back to we all live in fear, so we're all looking for that fear on the telly. We're all looking for that whoa factor in the news and all the rest of it.
Exactly. It all stems from just misunderstanding the species, and it sucks that
bullshit on a plate, and 80% of the population is eating it like it's fish and chips. You can't seem to get enough. It's like, what the fuck?
It was stupid. This little radio thing I'd done, it was with the BBC. It got sold to Al Jazeera. So I was on Al Jazeera at one point. Not my face, just my voice. With carry around, this guy going, "Oh, is it going to be in him?" Me go, "No, it's not going to be in here. It's going to be." And it was eventually found. In a bush next door, sort of thing, because it wasn't in the summer. It was like, it's not going to go far. It's going to get hunkered down somewhere. It's literally not going to be far away. Yep. And I met the guy who owned it. He was like, "Oh, it's a male dwarf." I was like, "Oh, so it's not big." He went, "No."
It's ridiculous. And I think a lot of this, going back to media, it really stems from that. Because what are we able to see about this? Because obviously with the exotics, reptiles are a big part of that. There's so much misunderstanding and fear, because that's all that's been around with stuff like sharks and snakes. It's all sensationalized fear mongering. Snakes are these slimy, evil things that punch you out. But I've yet to see an aggressive snake lunge towards me if it's not trying to defend its territory or defend its life. If you find a snake in the wild, that snake's not going to come after you and try to bite you. It's going to try to get away from you 9 times out of 10. And yet all we're seeing on even these Animal Planet, Discovery Channel here in the States, is all just this sensationalized eating alive. An anaconda eats this guy alive. It's all trash like this. And that's all people ever see. People aren't searching out the good in reptiles. They're not searching out reptiles in general. They just see this sensationalized tile and put that in coordination subconsciously that, oh yeah, snakes are bad, snakes are evil. That's what it is.
Well, that's it. I think it was Animal Planet, when it was like a few years ago, didn't they do that whole show or something of doing a bodysuit for someone so he could be swallowed alive?
Yes, eaten alive. Actually, if you guys look at oh, you got to be kidding me.
Is it Animals at Home?
Possibly? No, not Animals at Home.
He did a podcast with the guy, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a corn snake breeder.
Oh, I don't know.
He doesn't do it anymore. What the fuck is that? Damn. Anyway, yeah, he actually had the guy as a guest, and it was Discovery Channel or Nat Geo, whoever started that thing, they twisted it so much. Like, it was never supposed to be about that. It was supposed to be, there was supposed to be all this education about these snakes. Yep, and it was twisted and bent, and he was under contract. Like, he would have get sued if he didn't air on this. And they changed the title at the very last minute. There's a bunch of these jabs and just twists on the narrative of what he was trying to do and what he expected to do when he actually signed on for that show.
Yeah,
just let me say this: Transplastic Enclosures just popped in. He has had COVID, and he's just tested negative last Saturday, which is absolutely amazing.
Oh, I got it a couple weeks ago. Oh, what shit, man. You are so, and taking care of 150 reptiles while having COVID, worst time of my life. I basically took care of them and then went right back to bed. I was so tired.
I think it was Steve was the first person in the tarantula community that I ever spoke to, and he was like, "There's groups that do all this tarantula stuff, come and have a look." And it opened up my world on the internet, put it that way.
Really?
But yeah, I mean, that scaremonger is one of the reasons. As a child, I went into the sea and I went up to my neck, and it was all good, it was all fine. And then my stepdad started talking about Jaws.
Jaws, yes, Jaws.
And then we watched Jaws, and all the rest of it. And because of him, I had a fear of going swimming in the sea for a long, long time.
Yep.
Even though, where we swim in the British Sea, they'll see a shark off the coast, once in a blue moon. But to me, watching the films and a helicopter up in the sky going, well, it's here and there's the sea, there's the beach. So on the telly, it makes it look like it's this close.
Yeah, but really, it's like hundreds of meters away.
It's like a couple of miles. And then they're saying one tiny drop of blood that shark can pick up, and it will do exactly this. It will follow that trail straight to you and eat you alive.
Like a bloodhound. One drop of like 10,000 gallons or something like that.
As an adult, not obviously now, you got a better understanding. It's like, hold on a minute. A shark wants to eat fish. So obviously it's going to smell fish blood and go for the fish. It's a bit like me. I like kebabs, so I'm going to head to a kebab shop, not a bakery. It's the same kind of thing for those sharks. Obviously, if one's in close quarters to you, it's gonna go. Is that a seal? Is that an albino seal? Let me have a little nibble. Oh no, it's not. I'll leave it alone.
Yeah, it's funny. They're not aggressive whatsoever. They're simply just curious animals. They want to know what it is. And when you're an animal that basically just has a mouth and a tail, much like snakes, that's the only thing you can do is bite to test things out. But 90% of the time, like, sharks don't eat people. They do a test bite. I'm pretty sure we taste bad to sharks. And so they test bite and then they leave.
But unfortunately, a shark's mouth is enormous compared to us, and their teeth are absolutely, well, they're sharper than razor, aren't they? They can literally just touch and that's it. They've cut through. Yep. Incredible, absolutely incredible. But it is strange.
A lot of people do believe films. So many people believe the films.
If we didn't believe in films, horror films wouldn't exist.
They absolutely believe that stuff, and would never really get, doesn't really get important. More people are killed by pet dogs every year than sharks.
Jay says, did anyone ever see ants? And the people were actually eaten by an ant swarm.
Yes, I did. It was hilarious. That, what's the spider one? It's like 8-legged or something like that. Is that, yeah, where these giant spiders.
They're just massive.
You just need a bigger boat.
I watched that film and went, I wish I got that big. I don't know where to put one, but...
Now that's the Goliath bird eater I want.
Yeah, but back when they were studying not studying, but discovering the Goliath bird eaters, they had to have a big, scary name, and they had to seem larger than what they were, and they had to be the most scariest thing anybody's ever seen on the planet. Because when you come back with these stories, you need somebody to say, well, here's another £1,000 for you to go off again and try and bring one back or something. So you couldn't come back and go, well, I found this spider, it's this big, and it likes to cuddle me. They'll be like, not. They did the same with gorillas.
You got gorillas as well.
Gorillas were like the man-eating, man-destroying, soul-destroying beasts of the jungle. When they were first discovered, because again they had to come back with those horrific stories to get funding to go again. So
God, I love gorilla. If there's one animal documentary I love, it's gorilla documentaries. I can't get enough of them.
This type of like fear-mongering / publicity has been going on for hundreds of years.
Yep.
But I think as a human race, we live in fear. I don't think that helps too much.
It's sad. I think at the end of the day, I think that's the best word for it. It's sad how we've grown and evolved.
We don't understand.
Exactly. And that's it. Going back, that's the whole reason why I got that tarantula is because I was scared of tarantulas. I didn't want to hold them, and I wanted to get over it.
We feel what we don't understand, and we get taught it as well, by our parents and stuff, and we pick that up and go, oh, that's dangerous.
What do you do when you're a child and then you go into your early teens and there's a house spider? The first thing you do is look for a shoe.
Yep.
You don't think, hold on a minute, all these flies that come through the door in the summertime.
I absolutely adore house spiders for that.
You
We
know,
have a huge fly problem. Not anymore.
Exactly. But then there's that other thing where people were saying, wow, you know, you swallow 10 spiders in a year in your sleep. So that again puts that fear in your mind, and everybody's out with a slipper going,
That's it, which is a load of rubbish.
Do you know, as a tarantula keeper, one of the biggest things people that are not in the community or not interested in tarantulas say to me is, don't they get out at night time? And I'm like, yeah, they open this locked door, or yeah, they take a big metal glass lid off their tank and carry it on the shoulder, and then they hear me coming, they skittle back in, a bit like the burrowers.
It's like what was that art museum show, Night at the Living Museum. It's like clockwork.
Yeah.
8 o'clock, all the enclosures just open up and they go do their thing.
Get back in your burrow, he's coming.
Yeah, that's it.
And every now and again, you find a spider on the side like that.
But again, here's the thing. Yeah, you tell people, you know, that don't know whether that you keep reptiles or you keep inverts or whatever. It normally, or how many times do you get bitten? But you get bitten a lot. Yeah, you tell someone, "Oh, I've got a pet dog." They never go, "Well, how many times have you been bitten?"
Yeah, because if you get bit, the dog immediately gets put down. That's it. It's listed as an aggressive dog, and it's euthanized immediately.
Yeah.
The amount of times I get bit over here, everything would be taken away. I've been bitten by crested geckos, dude. These small little geckos bite me. Do I got to put that down now? It's an absolute ridiculous mentality we have. And I think the big problem is as the reptile community gains more popularity, it's no longer this underground, basement transactions type deal. It's starting to evolve into a big thing. A lot of these new keepers and it's very stemmed with leopard geckos, crested geckos, and bearded dragons. Those seem to be the big beginner pets, right? That are more popularized. We're getting a lot of people that are taking the dog and cat mentality, which is really just a personification on what we feel an animal should have, not even what the dog or cat's feeling. Mm-hmm. And we transfer that into the reptile, that reptile should act this certain way and that certain way, like the dogs do, when in reality, dogs are just such amazing creatures that they've learned to adapt to our preferences and how we want them to be. That's not how dogs are. Dogs are absolutely not like that. Dogs have it so rough in this society because they're put on such this strict line of if you mess up one little time, dead, just like that, thrown away. It's ridiculous, man.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Don't you think, like, the invert hobby and the reptile hobby should be one, and it should have a new name.
Oh, bro, we can't even get the reptile hobby to be one.
I've been in some of those forums, not to rant, not to communicate with people, just have a look to see if it's true. And my God, some of you guys are fucking evil.
It's so
bastards.
bad. It's so bad. I
mean, how if you're looking to keep an animal and you're going somewhere like that and you say something, a beginner question.
Stupid. We all make stupid comments like stuff.
Yeah, all you have to say is, I'm thinking of getting a corn snake. What do I need to know? Well, if you don't know, you shouldn't get it.
Do your research. Jackass, that's why I'm here.
What a lot of people don't realise is, we all learn differently. Some of us learn from face-to-face conversations. Some of us learn from having a conversation on Facebook. Some of us from videos. Some of us from books. And some of us literally by being with somebody else and having a hands-on experience. So to just slate somebody down like that straight away, it is pretty scary.
Without a second thought, just automatically, if I see a stupid comment or a stupid question posted, I'm like, there's gonna be so many trash comments on here.
It's stop keeping snakes and reptiles so I can fit more spiders in. That is true, Dakota. I mean, that enclosure you've got over your left shoulder there, you'd probably get a good. You could
the
probably
bearded dragon one.
Yeah, you get a good 20 spiders in that space.
Yeah. I'm thinking about stacking them. I'm going to take off that banner. I'm going to put another one right on top of it.
You get a shelf on the wall.
We got a couple shelves. I think this one, there's nothing in that anymore, but we have little Ackies in that 75-gallon for right now. But pretty much what I've been doing is big PVC tanks on the bottom and then stacking like glass tanks and Exoterras on top.
Sorry, I'm just responding. D says it's definitely one reason I'm here in this community. Scott, you guys rock. I think everybody rocks. Everybody rocks.
I mean, I know I rock. I don't know about you guys. I'm still trying to get a feel.
Dakota, I've just turned 43, so I'll rock like both of you guys put together. You know what I mean?
He was rocking when I was still in diapers.
I seen Marilyn Manson play in the early days while you were literally I need my nappy cage. I've done another poo. we were the ones that were originally there while he was like, see this glow stick? It's going up my ass. When he was doing all that shit, he doesn't do that no more, does he? Steve, 43 again, bastard. I like to consider myself a young 43. I'm very much aware that as soon as people get 35 plus, you can get. Steve's one of the guys that's not like this, but you can kind of get stuck in a dogma, can't you? The people can get stuck in their ways, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to learn more and try different things and modify stuff and all the rest of it. So I like to say like I'm a young 43.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest divides in the reptile hobby is going to be the older keepers, the people that started, because this hobby isn't too old, I mean, stemming in the late 60s, early 70s, if I'm not mistaken. That's not that old. And so we still have these, living legends, the Crutchfields, the Ty Parks, people like that. But now we have all these younger keepers, and social media has become such a toxicity around that because now everyone feels like they have an opinion because social media has given them that voice, which is absolutely dog shit. So we've all these keepers that have been doing this for a month, 3 months, 6 months. And Facebook groups, man, I have seen Tom Crutchfield years has brought us so many amazing species that we would not have if it wasn't for Tom Crutchfield. I see these little 14-year-old shits trying to argue with Tom Crutchfield on how you should keep this and that. And it's like, it's mind-boggling. It's like, do you not know who that is that you're talking shit to right now?
We don't.
In the same light, right? And with the absolute uttermost respect, Dakota, you can get. Obviously, this isn't the case in that scenario, but you can get a guy that's been keeping a gecko for 30 years. You come along and you've been keeping it for like 3 months, yet your husbandry and care is better than what the old guy's doing because the old guy's like, well, this is how we did it 10 years ago. Yeah. So this is how we do it now.
I've seen how they did it in the 80s. It was they weren't trying to breed stuff in the 80s. They were just trying to keep it alive for more than a week.
Well, that's it. I mean,
what?
I went to talk a couple of years ago, maybe the last Advancing Herbological Husbandry conference, possibly. And Tel Hicks, who was like one of the founding members of the International Herbological Society back in the 60s, whoever at Drayton Manor Zoo, he done to him literally what he's seen as the reptile hobby, and it was like, this is what we had our first year of the reptile hobby, and it was just a plastic tub. He was like, next year the great advancement was a plastic tree to put in the plastic tub.
The innovationness.
That was the innovation. It was like, oh my god, we've got literally a plastic tree that we can stick in the tub. There we go. Oh, it's advancing.
That's all the mental enrichment they need for 20 years.
That's how it started, and way back when he first started ever keeping reptiles, and that was it.
Don't you think some of the advancements are funny? Like, we'll take the sponge out of the water dish and throw it away.
Oh, for like the hermit crabs and stuff?
For tarantulas as well.
Oh, tarantulas. See, I don't know.
Tarantulas, you still see it in the though.
I've seen them go away from the spiders and go into the feeders. So you've got your feeders that are not drinking off the sponge, but they're also eating the sponge. And then the feeders are being fed to the spiders, which is just like feeding the water sponge to the spiders in the first place.
Yeah. UK, fairly prominent reptile products manufacturer that produces a pack for spiders of a hide water dish with a sponge in it, still being sold today in pet shops, and you're like, "Ah."
I did you not see the review I did on those the little water dishes, and they had tiny pieces of sponge with, and I went, yeah, this is for cleaning it, or you just throw it in a fucking bin. Oh, I don't know, Steve. Steve reckons he's got the best hair on YouTube. Oh, I don't know, mate. You've got DBCB Exotics, and you've got incredible inverts and other animals to contend with now. And then, of course, you've got the Scots inverts, Mohawk. Do you know what I mean? Nothing beats that.
You gotta give me a couple more years, then I'll have the best hair. Mine's still, it's in that awkward growing out phase where I don't know what to do with it. We're about like 10 months into growing it out. So give me another year. I'll have some really luscious locks. So right now it just looks awkward. It's usually hat or beanie for me during this time.
I did all right when I first grew mine. When I had hair down to the back. So I started growing my hair from the top, and then I had all this bit shaved. So it was like, called it an undercut. So the top was long, underneath was shaved bald, and then you could gel it, slick it back to your hair, and then have a tiny ponytail coming out the back of your head here.
Oh yeah, no, I rocked that. I had a ponytail with I got like a huge head tattoo that's like starts here and goes all the way back. And I had a ponytail that was like this long with like a giant undercut for a couple of years. And then I shaved it. I don't know why. And now I'm like just growing out my full head of hair.
But yeah, I grew the undercut. I grew the undercut cut out. That took me about 2 years.
Yeah.
And I think I had it all shaved off when I was 34, so about 10 years ago. But only because this bit receded to where it is now. I was like, yeah, I can't really have that. So
you got the cool mohawk thing going. It works.
But look, I've gone bald to there. This is like 10 years ago, then it stopped. So what other alternative have I got other than shave my hair off? I'm gonna grow this a bit longer, grow the hair, plait this back, and just be the cool old Viking look.
Yeah.
I'm gonna smash that out.
As soon as my hair starts receding or I get like that bald spot in the back, I'm shaving my head and I'm tattooing the whole thing. I'm not gonna be one of those George Costanza looking motherfuckers. I can say that right now.
I keep thinking about a face tattoo, just something small coming down here, but then where I want to go with work, I don't know if that'd be it. In my eyes, it should be accepted because of the industry we're in, but it might not be.
No,
do you know what I mean?
I did. This is my first one. I have a feather, but if you grow the beard, you can't see it as well. And then, like, I don't know, 3 weeks later, I was like, fuck, I'm just gonna tattoo my whole face.
That's my worry. Is do one, and then suddenly it's like
it's addicting. I'm thinking like 2 more. I wanted to put like a little gecko somewhere right here. I wanted to put something on this forehead so it matches and flows a little better. It can get a little. Once you get one, you're like, I just want one more little one.
I've got a few. Currently having like a blackout thing going.
Oh, it's what I want to do. This arm's like all mistakes and just kind of crappy ink, so I want to just black out this whole sleeve.
That's what we're doing here. Then it's going to come all the way up to an autism tattoo that I've got up here.
Yeah.
So it's going to come up to here, go into geometric, and those geometric pieces are then going to go into the jigsaws. And
yeah, see, that's my. I haven't even planned mine yet. I want to do like some cool design. I don't have it thought out in my head yet.
Steve says no face tattoos for me anywhere else. Fair game. I don't know, mate. Being 1 year off 50, you're going to need some tattoos to cover those wrinkles. Do you know what I mean? Maybe a bit of shading. Try and keep that youthful looks.
Oh, shit.
I don't care what he says. He has got nice hair, and he definitely dyes it. Definitely dyes it.
Definitely.
Scott suffers from extreme male baldness, then glues a fox's tail to his head. His favourite is the mohawk. Fucking bastard. Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey there, guys. Again, my phone was playing up badly. No worries, Aaron. Tosser. Gotta be true. If you see him at the shows, he's normally on the spider shop stand, and he's like,
or transfer room.
or the tarantula room, and it's literally like walking past a Timotei advert. Isn't it? It's like, are you selling spiders or you're selling shampoo here?
I was asked for hair tips the other day, so on Instagram.
I get a lot of comments on my beard all the time, and I think it's just a beard, mate.
Yeah, I'm starting to get some too. They're like, "Oh, how did you grow it?" I was like, I couldn't grow it until like this year. It was so patchy, and this is like 26 is the year where my beard's finally like, all right, you're gonna resemble something like a beard.
Gandalf.
I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to see how long. So I haven't cut my hair. I haven't cut my beard. I haven't touched it. I want to see how long I can get it.
I always get, oh, that's a ginger beard. It's like, yeah, well, yeah, it is. You trying to be negative or just state the truth, or you got a bit of grey in your beard, Scott? It's like, yeah, I know. Yeah, if I didn't want it there,
I look in the mirror.
I'd dye it. I'm quite happy with the fact that I've got a bit of grey in my beard, and I'll be happy with the fact when it all goes grey. It don't bother me, obviously.
Exactly. I don't know what's going on with mine because my hair is like this dark brown, and then my beard's like half gingered, half blonde. I don't know what's going on. Someone made a mistake.
Steve says he shaved his beard. It's been a year since Steve shaved his beard off.
Oh, I can't. I shaved my beard once for the face tattoo. Oh, dude, I got such a bad double chin now. I look like a chunky little doughboy. I'm like, never again. Never again.
You're on a stream with two fat blokes, you know what I mean? and we've both got beards.
It's the best thing. If you're in your 20s, number one, you're going to start gaining weight. I used to be stick thin. Now, especially, getting in recovery, all that metabolism, doing all this meth for years, I got no metabolism now. I've just packed on weight. Grow a beard. They're not gonna, you don't even have to have a long beard like this. You can keep it short, just covers that double chin. You look 10 times better, always.
I found when I was homeless, I didn't eat. So when I went to the hostel, I found I was still doing shitloads of drugs, but not eating as much. Then I got my own flat, and it was like, right, I need to clean up. So it took me a month of being in the flat, sweating my ass off, because whoever says a rat will last for a week is fucking lying. It took me 4 weeks because I dropped all the doctor's prescriptions at the same time as well and stuff like that. And at the end of that, I was like, oh, fuck, I need to do something now. Otherwise, I'm just going to slip back. So I went and got a job. And then as soon as you go from having no money to having money and you're immobile in a van driving past batch bars, it's like, oh, I got a fiver in my pocket. Oh, cheeseburger, £3. Oh, just pop in. That's nice. And then you've ate that. And then you've also ate your sandwiches that you've done for work. And then you get home. And like I said, because you're on money, it's like, oh, well, I'll have pork belly slices, mashed potatoes, and I might have a bit of cake for dessert. Yeah, because it's winter time and I'm working outside, I'll soon burn it off. But you don't. You just get fat.
Nope.
And because you've been so long homeless or in addiction away from food, you know what it's like when it hurts that you're that hungry.
Yeah.
So every time you have a dinner, that the whole plate is cleared. And if you've got a petite missus like I have, who then will go, well, I've had half of my dinner, I want no more. I'm like, you can't let that go to waste. That's good.
Let me help you with that.
And then I'm like this, and then I'm like, I'm getting fat. Scott, you don't know the meaning of fat. Try and burn, mate. Not Leah. D shaved his Gandalfs off last year. Scott can talk and do the dishes at the same time with that Brillo pad of a beard. Michael, it was longer. Yeah, it was, but it come out like this. So I went down to the hairdressers and I said, look, I want to grow it long, but I want one of those beards that kind of go. Not
you gotta like brush it.
So
you gotta like teach it. You gotta teach it. Like I taught mine to like kind of do this little thing. It's condition it, not like conditioner, but you like condition the beard to go a certain way, and it'll do it.
I wash it and hair dry it every day.
Really?
I put beard oil on to condition the skin, and then I use the beard balm, obviously, to put it in place.
Yeah.
And then beard butter at night time to keep it nice and soft.
It is crazy how much you need to do when you have a beard, right? The whole thing, like, beards are manly. You don't have to. No, dude, if you don't, like, oil it and condition and get the beard, my jaw, like, in here in my chin, it gets so red and itchy. It's awful. So I'm like, every day I'm like, oh, it's the morning. Gotta get the balm, you know, get in here. Oh, make sure I get the oil nice and in there when everything nice. It's crazy.
The worst thing for me is Tosh wax. Tosh wax, you need it because you've got to pull that hair away from your lip, otherwise you're eating with your Tosh.
I always shave mine like right to the top of the lip.
Right. See, I want the Tosh to stick out away from the beard.
You got to do one of these little things right
and then
here.
I'm like this. And then halfway through the day, it's just gone to pot and it's like all over my face. And I'm thinking, that wax said it was like mega hold.
It never works.
What I use the Mo Brothers. It's like a beard. It's a beard soap. It's actually a clear piece of soap, and it's from Mo Brothers, and it's vanilla and mango. I think the flavour is.
I'm currently using Beard and Bones Caribbean Twist, which is very fruity.
Tara loves the smell of it. Normally, right? If I won't go into details, when a male and a female that are very close together are in bed, afterwards, right? This is the first time I've used all these beard products. She didn't go, "Oh, I love you, babe," or "You were really good tonight, babe." She went, "Your beard does smell like vanilla, doesn't it?" Literally, I was like, "That's the best performance of my life." Are you just complimenting me on my
just brought my A game and you're commenting on my beard.
Literally, I just gave it everything, you know, keep you happy. And it was, oh, your beard does smell like vanilla. Oh, oh, Erin, the boy who has autism, says, I'm getting a lizard.
Nice.
Ooh.
I let my moustache get so long, it was ridiculous. Had to cut it, ate through like a filter.
Yeah, it's awful, especially once it gets to like this awkward stage. And then like when you eat, all of this kind of like goes. I'm constantly like doing this when I eat food, trying to like get these little tails out of it because it always goes right into my mouth.
Oh, I was going to say hair shampoo ain't good for beards.
Yeah, that's like my number one taboo is I use the conditioner and shampoo I use for my hair on my beard. I know it's not good. I just haven't had the time to research like a quality beard shampoo.
I use the beard shampoo on my beard and my hair, and then I use a conditioner on my hair. And then I slick it back with Brill cream, is it? Brill cream and bedhead paste.
Go, whoever just put that little bubble thing on their chat, that scared the shit out of me because I hit my vape at the same time and I heard like, I was like, holy shit, is the thing about to explode?
Oh, that was Leah in our group chat. 9 inches a tosh when crossed and twisted.
Nice.
Yo, that's crazy.
Now, he's from New Mexico, but when you think Mexico, you think, is Dringo derogative now, or is that used?
Oh, you're treading on thin ice there, pal.
I don't know. I do not know. I just simply do not know. But you can always imagine D sitting in like some sandstone building outside with his
God.
And now this perfect black 9-inch tosh. Literally. Is that what it is?
Scott's inverts apology video here next week.
Yeah, that is. If that is a derogatory comment, I am really sorry. I just did not know. I do not know. I'll just carry on here. It's all right.
I think we're gonna let this one sit for a second. Really, take in everything.
Australia have me. They still say all that. Joffy just came back to the stream. Thought I accidentally turned into an episode of Loose Women. Nah, I am an old ginger. Big up the gingers. Erin says, but I don't know what type of lizard I'm getting.
Oh, I can find out soon.
You've got to find out before you get it, dude, and then you've got to set up.
Yeah.
Oh no. To be fair, I know with Erin, everything in the background runs smoothly, so it will be set up perfect. Hey, Exotics, Dan.
Exotics then.
Hey, Thomas. Not
What
long
time
now
is it for you
before
guys over there?
up north to collect the frogs.
Oh, yeah, it's a new Frog Series game.
Ooh, friggy frogs. I tell you what, we haven't said, Dakota, is like what your channel is mainly about.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know.
I mean, you're not going to get many additional subs from me, like, but you never know. You might get one or two.
Hey, I did Ants on a Rock. I almost forgot. Ants on a Rock podcast last week. I think I got like 5. There's like 7 people that tuned in. Like 5 of them subscribed to me. But I don't do podcasts for that. I'm just having a good time shooting the shit with you guys. I don't care like if I grow or not grow from it. It doesn't matter. But my channel is about reptiles. Which reptiles? I don't know. I kind of do a little thing. Obviously, I have 200 reptiles here. I probably have 20 or 30 different species, and I kind of talk a little bit all of them. So if you like water dragons, frill dragons, geckos, tegus, monitor lizards, I got a little bit of everything for everyone.
And he lives in a mobile caravan, so that means Eminem's mum lives next door.
Exactly.
I think I have a child just come into the room. Hello?
Yeah.
You just mute.
This is a good time for me to grab another soda. I'll be right back. You'll have to carry this on as a one-man show now. Good luck.
I'll just take over the channel. I'll see you later, Thomas. That's
See you
right,
later,
yeah.
Thomas.
Army, big up the Phil's army. My first exotic pet was a leopard gecko, the first reptile. But first pet, probably dog, actually. But I got a dog when I was like 2.
The last exotic thing Phil had in his house was tea in the deep blue sea. Phil, we still haven't got him saying moist.
Oh, is that the challenge? Is it?
Yeah, that is the challenge from the chat. Exotic's Dan, I had to buy an exo tank for my female toe case. She keeps sliding her bloody door open. Phil, you sexy zookeeper. Yeah, I was trying with the substrate water levels earlier. Not a chance. Hashtag Phil's Army. You bastard. Phil's Army. Phil's Army, says Joff.
Everyone's saying Phil's army. It's a mutiny.
I do like to think, though, if you're on the live and you're not subscribed to Incredible Inverts and Other Animals, that you will do so now. Literally, Phil has only given you a tiny amount of his incredible knowledge last hour. He is a man-mountain of information when it comes to animals and sexual positions.
Oh, God.
My brain is simply too large, says Fantasy Geckos. Ask him about the humid loving frogs. He's a reptile man, so we need to ask him about it.
Never mind all of your armies. More like Layla's army.
Dakota, do you have like a humid hide? Oh, that's probably a good thing.
I saw your little face in the lower left corner, and I was like, "Oh, do we have another guest on?"
It was a little thing with a couple of subscribers, so that's why it was on that thumbnail. I sometimes do it on a couple of the thumbnails just to keep a couple of close friends like happy. Bit of a joke, like. Do you keep like with your geckos? Do you have like a dry hide and a humid or?
No. I do it with like a leopard gecko, but most of the stuff needs like high humidity. So there's no really need to have like, and most of my stuff's also arboreal. Jesus Christ. Look like a ghost. You fix that? Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I usually just keep the ambient humidity at a set percentage.
Fantasy Gecko says, do you have any of the red-eyed tree frogs that are obviously humid as well?
Red-eyed tree frogs? Yeah, I've got some. God, red-eyed
Do
tree
you keep
frogs are
them
hard, man.
humid or what?
Yeah,
It says
they
what
need,
level of
red-eyed tree
humidity?
frogs are so sensitive. They're like one of the most fragile frogs I've ever kept. But really high humidity, and they need like they're consistent. There's not a big room for error with working with those frogs.
Yeah. No, no. Another zookeeper, they breeds them privately, and I think his exos, it's just water.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. Like just like a straight like
So it's
Pladarian
not
type feel.
substantial. Yeah.
Because they're never
What,
on
the-
the ground. They're always
the
either on the
platforms
glass
as
or
well, or-
on something.
Well, let's go.
Would that then have like magnetic platforms on the glass so they can not only hang on the glass but then obviously chill out on the platforms?
Just like branches straight in the water and stuff. So I don't think he has any ledges in there or anything. And so he like breeds a few different species of frog, and especially like tree frogs, and a lot of them don't have any substrate, and it's all just water. A few inches of water at the bottom. And that really helps with humidity.
I've done just completely live planted, a lot of pothos and different ferns,
Yep.
and then a super damp substrate, and I sealed most of the. They're in a 29-gallon aquarium, so I sealed most of the screen, like 90% of it, with metal tape, so all that humidity stays and retains in there.
What? So how dumb would you have to have the soil?
Damp.
Damp. Sorry.
I
Yes.
reckon it's damp, yeah.
Sorry.
I was like, I don't know, man.
I don't read into stuff. I always read things black and white. It takes me ages for shit like that. So how damp would you need to have the soil?
I mean, that question's so dependent on a couple of things, like what kind of enclosure is it in? It all depends on like what your humidity levels are at. So if I notice my humidity levels are dropping, then the soil needs more watering. If the soil looks too saturated, give it a couple of days to dry out. A good rule of thumb is always keeping the soil pretty moist. Live plants are a great way to keep that going, so you're not going to have soil. Oh, did I just do a thing? I think I just did a thing.
You said it. You said the word moist.
I saw that in the chat, and I was like, I probably should avoid that word, but oh well. Cat's out of the bag 2 hours and 42 minutes later. Yeah, just keep it at a good level. Live plants will definitely help because it'll keep that soil from becoming saturated and waterlogged. So you're just getting this gross, muddy like consistency that's going to start smelling bad. Plants are a good way to filter that out. They're going to retain and take in some of that water to grow. And live plants in of themselves are a good way to keep that humidity. Oh God, what's happening in the comment section? It's just moist. I did something. I tripped some sort of thing, and I know.
Normally, not one of us can say that the word moist without having like a cheeky smile, or it's just one of them things. Yeah, we all find quite funny. It's probably more British humour than what it is American, to be fair.
Hey, I'm hip with UK humor. I watched the original Office.
And what I don't think cleanup crew has been mentioned yet either.
That's it, Thomas.
Oh, good night, Thomas. Take care. Just like cottage cheese. I'll have to send you the mem, Dakota, and then you'll be like, I'm not going near them again. I'm not going on his channel. I'm not going on Bill's channel. I'm not having anything to do with those subscribers.
No, if anything, it'll be like, how do I get the next guest spot now?
Is there oh God, Leah's gone crazy for it now.
Of course, yes.
Well, she loves a bit. She loves a bit of moisture.
It's one of their calling words.
Yeah, literally. She's one of the naughty ones, Dakota. She has to be. Phil has to tell her off every now and again.
She's the naughtiest one.
Yeah. Have you got any animals that you can get out and have a show off?
Yeah.
Any cool geckos we might not have seen?
Oh, I don't think actually. Do I have any geckos in? I don't think I do. This is like more of my like a bit of a larger setup. So like my chameleon, bearded dragon. I can take. I have like wires going everywhere, and I don't know what's what. Come here, buddy.
And then and another question would be like geckos with UV lighting. Where'd they gone?
So this is flapjacks.
What, 5 to 11 at night? Don't you think you should have washed and dried it about an hour ago?
Yeah,
But yes,
I'll do my
yeah, you're doing your homework.
thank you very much.
The flapjacks are blue tongue.
Thank you.
Really like a blue tongue.
This was, I don't know what you call it, like a pet store rescue or whatever. He was at this pet store for like 8 months. He's like not a nice blue tongue. He was super huffy, did the whole defense tongue thing.
Aaron.
And
Hi, Aaron.
they wanted a ridiculous, they wanted like $300 for him, which I was like, really? For this? I don't know. But they were like, we'll give him to you like 70% off if you take him because we can't sell this thing. So now he just lives with me. And I like him. It's my grumpy little skink.
What did you say, Phil?
Blue tongues are going up in price here.
Yeah, same here. They're becoming a lot more popular. And I think that's due to the successful that we're having with breeding, especially like we were really only having success with the Australians, like the Northerns over here. But now we're getting a little bit better with like the Easterns, not indigos. I don't remember what. I'm not like too versed with the locale blue tongues, but we're getting a lot more people that are having success breeding them. I think they make excellent pets. I like them better than bearded dragons, which are like the king of beginner lizards over here.
I mean,
Just got DBCB link back into the chat as well, please. That'd be awesome. Just so people can pop off and drop a subscription.
Also, potentially all Australian reptiles are going to skyrocket in price because of a new Australian law for international trade, which will make it illegal for any Australian animal to go over country lines, so to travel between countries.
Yeah,
I think that's always been in the pipeline, to be fair, though, hasn't it?
It's been coming for a long time, but it's like, yeah, but then like. So, like for us in the UK, we won't be able to get like Australian reptiles from Europe.
Yeah, because I know they were like you can't export out of Australia anymore. There's no new bloodline coming into wherever.
And you've got very good permits, which does happen occasionally.
Or you know,
they can't have anything from another country in theirs, though, can they? They can't keep. The tarantulas.
No, actually, one step further. Not only can they not have anything else in the country, it has to be native to where you are in Australia.
Yeah.
So, like, if bearded dragons are, I don't know Australia places, but like if you're in northern Australia and bearded dragons are in east, you can't actually own a bearded dragon over there. They're like that strict about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like intense over there. You got all these cool blue tongue mutations, but that's kind of all they got going for them. Lace monitors, although lace monitors are becoming a little bit more readily available over here now.
So Australia could be like literally the last country on the planet to actually have everything it's supposed to and nothing of what it's not supposed to.
I think that Hawaii is also like, I don't think you can own anything in Hawaii. They're like really strict about their native populations.
I've never, ever even looked at Hawaii.
Yeah, it's just one of those places like you don't think about living in Hawaii, but I know they're exotic, and I think even just pets in general, their laws about them are like one of the strictest.
Because there's a fair few invasive species over there.
Yeah, and they're an island, so like
You've got invasive poison dart frogs, various chameleons.
yeah, that's what I thought. Nothing in or out.
So they got Jackson's chameleons that are invasive, and you're like, wow, Jackson's.
Yeah. I'd be so stoked to see just a little Jacksons coming down a fucking palm tree or something.
Yeah, boigers as well. Yeah, these are for boigers.
Again, super stoked to see a Boega just out strolling Hawaii. But I get it. You know, we want to keep our native populations intact.
You see, in the UK, we've literally got, fuck all.
That's just America. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some beautiful species. For the most part, American species of reptiles and stuff like that, it's so bland. Like in Australia, they have like a lot of cockatoos, you know. I see a lot of Major Mitchell cockatoos, which are beautiful birds. They have this giant crest that goes into like these sunburst oranges to pinks. And then you see like our birds, and they're just brown birds. That's what we have here. Brown everything for the most part.
See, we get some stunning birds. A lot of different coloured finches and things like that, but a lot of them migratory, so we only get them for a short period of time.
Yep.
But a lot of the things that that we did have has obviously now gone, like such as bears and wolves. We had those once. We no longer have them.
Yeah, wolf populations over here are like minuscule.
But in the UK, I think if we had wolves, they would be in fenced off areas now anyway, because of danger to the public more than anything. I think if there was an open population of wolves, I think they get hounded by the public.
Well, over here, we did some big brain moves. And unless I'm remembering this wrong, which is very well could be, I believe while we were trying to eradicate the wolf population, we introduced the coyote to try to outcompete the wolf for its natural resources and try to diminish those populations. But now we have such a large population of coyotes, just wild coyotes, that like I used to live in a suburban neighborhood, like totally not out in the sticks, like very centralized in the city. There were fucking coyote packs that just walked around the cul-de-sac at night. It's wild.
Wasn't that the same thing with the cane toad as well? Wasn't that introduced to control the population of other insects?
Beautiful. So the beetles, right?
Yeah, the sugarcane beetle, which no one actually took a minute just to go, right, the toad is on the ground, the sugarcane beetle lives at the top of the sugarcane. How is a toad going to eat the beetle that's up there?
So we still have the beetle problem, but now
we have...
And then actually took into captivity or offered them sugarcane beetles. They don't like sugarcane beetles anyway. So they can't reach them, and they don't like them.
You think about it, there's a group of people that sat down around a table and discussed this and said, "This is a good idea. Let's do it."
What should we do today to fuck up the environment?
Oh. Let's take this invasive species and raise another invasive species.
It's just like that's what we do all the time. Like, we've introduced. Right, we'll now introduce this to control that. That's gone wrong. So we'll introduce this to now control that. Oh no,
it never works, and it boggles my mind to this day. They still try to do it, like biologically,
all the
eradicate this with this, and it's like, guys, pick up a history book. It doesn't
Right answer.
work.
That's it. I mean, you've got the whole thing with we really only invert people in zoos, but partial snails. So, hugely critically endangered snails in French Polynesia, and the whole problem was that people introduced or brought over giant African land snails as a food source. Giant African land snails escaped and started eating people's crops. They didn't want giant African land snails in their crops, so they then brought over Eucalandina snails from Florida, which are predatory snails that eat other snails. Don't like eating big giant African land snails because the Eucalandina is about this big.
So they went for the endangered snails.
So they the native partial snails, which are this big, adult, and pretty much wiped most of them to extinction.
So they just kept doing it. They're like, guys, we're gonna get it right eventually.
Sort of thing. So now you'll go to like London Zoo, Marwell Zoo, wherever, and there'll be a tank, this sort of size glass tank, might have 20 holes in it, and then they'll be saying this is half the world's population.
Jesus.
Sort of thing will be that tank. Be that's wild and captivity. That's half of the known population in the world. Sort of thing will be in this tank. Sort of thing, all because people introduced native species into areas, and then when it didn't work for one thing, they were like, "Well, let's introduce another non-native species to try and control this one."
Well, look at the last thing they introduced. They introduced COVID to control the human population, and when they realised it wasn't killing nowhere near as many people as what they thought, then they brought the vaccination out.
We're just getting into where did we were talking about cane toads 20 seconds ago.
It's along the same lines.
Okay. Well, cane toads are amazing amphibians. They're fantastic.
Very robust.
They come from naturally in the wild, where things have evolved with them.
Where are they actually from in the world, Phil?
They're Southern American. They're the marine toad.
Do they cause an issue in South America?
No, because everything's evolved with them. So they have their own natural predators.
Because, I mean, for somebody in the UK, you're going to think, well, South America, North America, they must have just walked up and got into North America. But you don't realise the distances, do you?
No, that's it.
Can we talk about how just massive units the marine toads are? I mean,
Dude, the giant ones, they are.
You need like a 75-gallon tank for this toad, and that's like minimum size, probably too small. You just have like a reptile room toad that hops around.
They are units. They're fantastic though. And yeah, the whole cane bit name came from when they were introduced into Australia to eat the sugar cane beetle and didn't.
Oh my god, that's where the name comes from.
That's where cane toad. If you go in there, because the like original common name, if you like, was marine toad. They're like Bufo marinus.
Yeah.
Something like that, I think.
So like cane toad is basically just a giant meme.
Yeah. Purely called cane toad because they were introduced into Australia and other countries as well. Because I think they're in Madagascar. I think they're in India. So they're invasive in other countries as well as Australia. We just hear about Australia all the time.
So people look at Australia and they're like, "Yeah, let's do it too." And then like 2 weeks later, Australia's like, "Guys, don't do it."
And in the UK, they're still like 40 quid each.
That's the thing. We didn't learn from other countries that it doesn't work. It didn't work there. They were it work here. So anyway, like here,
We can do it better.
No.
D says they brought oryx here for hunting. They got loose. They totally destroy the desert. Then they won't let anyone hunt them.
Yeah, you get things like that and stuff. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the same thing in Florida, unless stuff has changed. I haven't looked in Florida in a while, but like it was illegal to hunt tegus without some sort of fermentation and things like that. And it's like, okay, you have this invasive problem that you guys apparently care so much about, not the fact, you care about this native wildlife, even though immediately after the bill was passed, you were scheduled to demolish marshlands to build condos where these native manatees were, but we won't get into that part. So you want to get rid of these tegus so bad, but you won't let the reptile keeper, the private sector, take care of the problem for you. You don't even have to pay us. Like, we just want to go do it, right? But the government's like, no, we don't want to get rid of them that bad.
I think the biggest problem with law in the UK at the moment is we've got a thing called HS 1, 2, and 3, which is a big, massive rail line that's going to run like half the country to save travel time by 15 minutes down to London, right, Dakota? But because of the areas it goes through, they've now took every single animal that was on the endangered list off, just so they can build, a fucking railway.
Yep.
It's like you ain't got words for it, have you? It's just like, oh.
That's funny. I've heard talk of America trying to do something like that. They want to make like this giant speed bullet train that like zips across states to state.
Yeah, but that's essentially what saying like HS is meant to be, isn't it? But it's all like, to save 15, 20 minutes off the time to get from London to Birmingham. It's like, wow, because we need that.
Which is like a 2 to 2.5 hour drive.
Exactly. Or just get on the regular train.
That's already there.
It's there, fund that better, make train travel cheaper. Basically, the average person's not going to be able to afford to go on any of the HS trains, most probably. So
it's only as much as a plane ticket.
But on top of the endangered list, they've also forcibly bought people's homesteads, so farms, farmhouses, and things like that, which their great grandparents actually built.
Generational.
And they've just bought them out, and then I have to go onto the HS2 sites for work because I repair a lot of the machinery, and you got these buildings, and you talk to the workers, and they're like, "Well, yeah, the train line's going to come down here. It's not going to go through the house. It's just coming down on the property, 500 meters away." And it's like, right. So what's going on with the house? And they're like, "Oh, we're just staying in there and just fucking around." And the workers are literally living in these houses, and some of them, once the train line's been installed, are going to get resold. And it's like, hold on a minute. So the government have gone in, forcibly bought somebody's house for a lot less than what it's worth. They're going to keep it for 5 to 10 years, and then sell it for a hell of a lot more money than what they bought it for. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Same with the Northern Owl. Brought them in to hunt. Fish and Game said no. Sold them to the Apache reservation. Different laws on reservations, federal land. The Apache turned them loose. Then they overpopulated, drove out other species, then put on lottery hunts.
All right, boys. Well, this has been fun, but my stomach's rumbling, and I need to go grab a bite to eat. Enjoyed having the conversation. Good stuff. Good talk.
No worries. Thank you for coming on, Dakota. Really enjoyed it.
Worries. Had a great time, guys.
Yeah, man. If somebody could just drop Dakota's link into the chat again, hopefully you'll get a couple of subs off it, Dakota. Who knows?
Oh, I appreciate it, man.
Fingers crossed. Not that. Yeah, you're on some. You're on something like 15,000 or.
Yeah, we're on track. I think. We're right around almost 16K now, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
That is some. Do you still think when you get to like 15,000, do you go, wow, I've got a lot of subscribers, or you're looking at other channels? Do you think, oh, I'm not going to be happy until I've hit this amount, or caught up with Richard, for instance.
I'm glass half empty kind of guy. So it's one of those things like until I never, and I think it stems from me doing this full time and, YouTube being a big part. It's like that status symbol that I crave, like a channel with back then, I had, 5,000 subscribers when I started doing this full time. And it was like, no one really would take me seriously because, he only has a couple thousand. What the heck? And even at 15K, I don't feel like I'm there yet. Maybe 50, maybe 100, but I don't think it'll ever be a self-gratifying thing. I'll always, crave more, crave to be bigger. And it's not even simply like for like notoriety or fame. It's simply, I just want a big number, I guess.
Everybody's saying good night to Deadly Night Show. It says Night Dakota was Beast Senior on Scott's channel.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, we really do appreciate having you on. Just your energy tonight has been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I'm running on reserves. You're gonna start seeing me start dozing off now. I'm like, yes, cane toads.
What time is it over there?
It's early. It's only 6, but last time I had breakfast at 11, and I haven't had anything to eat since then.
Yeah, fair enough. It's 11:15 over here. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Really enjoyed it, dude.
For sure, man. Anytime. I'll check you guys later. You have a good one.
Take care.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. That is one passionate dude.
Yeah.
Is
cool.
Leah off as well? Is that just sub to DBCB EXOTICS? That's awesome.
Yeah, I dropped this up earlier.
Oh yeah, night Leah.
Oh, there you go.
I haven't got anybody for next week as yet, although I have got an idea. But I don't know. I think they might work at the wrong time, unfortunately. We have got a centipede video coming out on Thursday due to popular demand. More inboxes than comments on that video, though. That's the Nigerian banded in the Venomous Vision / Custom Aquaria tank. Try and get DTGON. DTG on? Who's DTG? D says it's great to see that kind of passion. Yeah, well, it's like I've always said. It's Phil's the same, and that's trying to bring more reptile hobbyists into the invert world and vice versa, because a lot of us invert people keep reptiles and a lot of reptile people keep inverts. And when I first started keeping tarantulas, there seemed to be a bit of a divide, and there's been loads, and not just us, obviously, but there's been loads of people working to bring it all together instead. And it's pretty much an epic time at the moment. Oh, Deadly Tarantula Girl. Yeah, she is. She's pretty fit as well, to be fair. So I have got somebody lined up that is big, but we are a little way away. But what I don't want to do is just have somebody like Deadly Tarantula Girl on, because she's got a lot of subs. There's a lot of smaller channels and channels that are just starting out with some amazing people behind them. Phil is on 600 subs, deserves 600,000. Damn right, damn straight, dude. So we shall see. It's pretty cool actually, because one guest leads to another, and it seems quite a few of the lives are having guests on now as well. So make sure you check out the other ones that are going.
Yeah, it's always good fun. I mean, for AKC, I'm trying to get some people that aren't even on YouTube and stuff coming on.
I'm aiming more for the people on YouTube only because other people know who they are. So you ain't got to give much of an explanation. With Phil, the people that Phil are going to get on are going to be absolutely amazing, and you're never going to heard of them. But by the time you finish the live, you're going to be like Googling them and seeing what research they've done and getting heavily involved, no doubt, in their passion for what they're doing as well. Phil's got some amazing connections. Hey, Charlie, you are late.
Hey, Charlie.
Petco, not a chance. Just not a chance. I've said it before. He ignored Layla at a show once, and then it just annoyed me. It's probably me just being a bit of a knob, to be fair, though. Yeah, exactly, D. I don't want that always only have that person on to get subscribers type thing. There's some people that I had on in the early days which I'd really, really like to get back on. Definitely. I do like to have people on that become friends or already friends. No doubt me and Dakota will stay in touch and he'll come on again. Obviously, Dave's Little Beasties is always a smash hit on the channel because he's literally just a cool geezer. His subs are going up, but he is a fucking just a decent down to earth guy. It's more of a joke, mate.
I mean, Dave's kind of living proof of that. He's grown his channel without having to really do anything apart from put out just good videos.
Yeah, I think with Dave, he got promoted a lot on one group on YouTube. So a lot of people watched one of his videos all at the same time. And I reckon the algorithm hit him up then. And then obviously he's massive in the Philippines as well. So that's incredible. But when you think he don't use hashtags or nothing, he just releases a video and it's like, what? How was it happening? So it kind of makes you think, are hashtags as good as what you think they are? Love watching Dave's videos. Dave is awesome. Maybe I should ask maybe a controversial one. Maybe I should get somebody on that handles tarantulas and have a debate. Not an argument, just a debate,
Good debate's always healthy.
Yeah, have a healthy one.
As long as it's a healthy debate and it's not, personal. Yeah, it becomes unhealthy and becomes like personal attacks on people. But good debate is what actually improves things. So maybe something that
is SS spiders.
Doing that some one of the conferences I go to for zoos, and they brought in a yearly debate where a topic sort of thing. It's all the first one was about venomous reptiles in zoos, whether we should have them in zoos or not. Last year's one was, should we work more closely with the private sector or not? Sort of thing. And it sort of gets some good discussion going on about things.
So, I mean, I can be really harsh about people that handle tarantulas, but I think as a debate, you have to take a relaxed attitude to it, but still sticking to your guns. Some of the people be an issue. What everybody's on as well. The Home Zoo, he came on a little while ago and he had his centipede with incorrect conditions. He's now changed it thanks to me, Phil, and Spider Mum. And he actually rehoused it live on TikTok and gave us all a shout out to say thanks. And that's why he's changed it all as well, which was pretty phenomenal. because I was thinking he ain't going to change it. He's not going to change it, and he did. Mark the Spider Guy, he's been on. So yeah, that is a cracking idea to get Mark on again. Phil's been on. We've done an interview with Phil before. We've done an interview with Mark. Done one with Spider-Man 2. Maybe Fantastic Enclosures and Derek from Reptile Innovations on at the same time might be a good one because they both do the enclosure builds. But we shall see. I've got no end of ideas, to be fair. No, your content is great. Scottish Habitats in info. Phil's vast knowledge of insects is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, well, I've got a decent knowledge on insects. The difficult thing is when you know about the animal that you're doing a video on, and you think you know a lot about them, but then you have to do. I'll put in a lot of research to make sure it's
cross-check everything. Yeah.
Because what I think is if I tell you guys it's being kept at 26 and it's not, they're kept at 22, then that means I'm giving you incorrect information. So, I won't just stick a video together fast as fuck just to get it out and to get people to watch. You have to make sure everything in that video is correct. Otherwise you're promoting bad husbandry, no matter how you look on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we have got a few things coming up. I wouldn't mind getting Layla to do another video. So she might do one of the videos coming up. I might see if she wants to do one a month and just have it like Layla's takeover night. I think that could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because we've got a few younger generation on as well, and Layla does spend quite a bit of time in here. She does do quite a bit. But she stopped doing the videos about a year ago. So she's kind of gave it the little nudge. So we'll have to see. I've got sea monkeys, so I might get her to set up the sea monkeys or something. Get that ginger guy on from Scott's Inverts. His channel is crazy. Might be a blast, says Michael. What, young? Yeah, Charlie's young. Talk about what you know works every time. Yeah. Exactly. And, with DBCB Exotics, especially with his reptile talk, because I'm more focused on my inverts, a lot of the original conversation, I was a bit like, But I know a good man that will come on the live at a drop of a hat called Phil that can keep up with DBCB Exotics, a piece of piddle, and also knows most of the Latin names as well. 18 in 221 days. I've just turned 18, Charlie. That's my birthday. Hey, Lewis. Michael, that's an insane idea. Scott interviews Scott. Don't, because I'll end up thinking about it and end up doing something along them lines. I'll tell you somebody that did interview me a long time ago, and that was Adam, the invertebrarian. And he interviewed me, and it's fucking brilliant. I ain't even gonna lie. The stuff he asked me was on point, and I really, really enjoyed it. Adam is somebody that I'm thinking about asking to get on, to be honest.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Oh, SS Spiders is on TikTok tomorrow. Rehousing a gold-legged baboon. 18 for the 18th time. Still don't cut it, Scott. What? Lewis, you've seen what runs around Hillfields, mate. I'm looking good for my age, mate. Adam is funny as shit, but that man has got an absolute heart of gold as well. He is absolutely gorgeous guy. His soul is amazing. I am caboodled. Tell you what was nice to hear with Dakota was a bit of his history coming from addiction as well.
Yeah, so yeah, I've never been in that position. Quite lucky.
I know. I don't look my age or act it. I'm never growing up, Lewis. I can't. I can be serious when I need to be, but the rest of the time, fuck it. You know what? You only live once, and you're as soon as you're born, you're dead. So why not just enjoy what you can, and fuck what anybody else thinks. You know, you're not here long enough to worry about anybody else's negative impacts on your life. No, I don't think. And Lupang, you're only in Coventry. We still haven't met up. Just look out for the fat bastard with the dodgy haircut and ginger beard. Why grow up? Have a laugh. Stay young at heart. Too right.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yep.
Nicotine is my biggest demon. It still is mine, D. And I'm on vape, and I was thinking to myself, I'm going to cut down from 3 milligram to 1.5, and it's like the amount of times I ever go on this, 1.5 will be like this. Yeah, drop me a message, Lupang, over the weekend. That would be job done. Charlie, I seen you yesterday in your van, Scott. Where was I? Where were you? Where was I yesterday? No, you wouldn't. Oh, you might have done. Where did I go yesterday? I left the house and went to Tesco and back in work van yesterday. Night SS Spiders. Take care.
Night SS Spiders.
Dead in Nightshade. I've managed to quit everything except smoking in Radford. Don't think it was me then. There might have been one of the other lads. Oh, it might have been. I went over the railway bridge and that way to Tesco. Sweet as Lewis. Sweet as. Actually, Lewis, while you're there, there's I know somebody in Coventry with about 50 OBT slings because they've just bred their OBTs. If you want to buy one of them dirt cheap, it was you. Then I was walking to college. You should have flagged me down. I would have dropped you off. When did I go to uni? When did I go? It was yesterday afternoon. I went to Tesco. Or did I go anywhere else? I don't think I went anywhere else. Did any of you guys notice anything better with the audio on the last video?
Here you got a new mic.
No, I don't know. The Blue Ice mic works on USB. So the phone hasn't got USB, neither does the camera. So I'm trying to do more work on the phone and the close-up work on the camera. But I managed to get an adapter that I can run the USB microphone into the iPhone on. Because the Blue Ice needs power, otherwise it don't work. D's Professor D says love OBTs.
I think it's great.
I think I've got 4 or 5 now. I just got another one in that sling box over from the show as well. I must have 3. I think I've got 3 OBT slings now. Must have. Now you mention it, you are very clear. Yeah, it's the microphone itself cost me £100. So what I did was money from channel members and donations and stuff like that. Literally, the channel paid for that microphone, so I can put it back in to getting better quality out for everybody. I think it was the 3rd payment I managed to have enough to get the other microphone, which is a standalone for the camera, for when we're out and about. It's got the 2 mystery boxes you got were really good. They're fucking epic, weren't they?
Good boxes. They were good boxes.
I mean, all right, fair enough. The creatures from the north, individual prices, they are ridiculous. But you got to be thinking the Brachypalmas and Tahiti cattles, they're not coming from Mexico anymore. So all of those are all captive bred. And I know for a fact that he actually bred those himself, which was pretty cool. And they're only going to go up in price as well because, like I said, they're not coming out of Mexico. I've got to get going. It's feeding night, but I've got to tidy before I can put all the T's and closures out. I know that feeling.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've done a rehousing and there's soil all over the floor, and I've gone, yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. And then I've come back in here to do something else, and I've gone, oh shit, where's the sweeping brush?
I've always got bits of substrate over my floor.
It's like, what do you do? Or there's a dubia or a hiss or a red runner running along the floor, and you've got to find it.
Yeah, you sweep it up, and minutes later, there's more substrate on the floor.
Oh, it's like this table when I do rehousing as well, and if I sweep the substrate off and put it in the bin, and I think, yeah, and then I'll go to bed or something. I'll come back down in the morning or the next afternoon or something, lean on this table, and then I'm like this, and it's like, oh, I didn't properly clean it down, did I? So there's still tarantula hairs on the table. That's why we need to pass the males in their community. Exactly. I think my Nandu chromatus is a subadult male. Nandu AAA, sorry. I think this chromatus is male. If you can even see him in there.
Michael's got a pile of substrate on his bed that he needs to clear off.
I got in trouble with substrate because this stuff from B&Q. This bag of substrate was sitting on substrate. This stuff from B&Q, I don't think it's decomposted enough. So when you open it up, it absolutely stinks. And it's like that's the bacteria still working in there.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as it was, but it's still humdingers. But what I've noticed with that substrate is the springtails fucking love it.
Probably like packed full of various organic matter or whatever.
Got male albulopilosum, no takers. That is Michael. That is literally the stuff from green bin. We said it the other day, didn't we? We put stuff in the green bin. The green bin goes to the recycling plant. They use bacteria and heat it up, so it decomposes really fast. They put it in bags and sell it back to us. It's pretty cool, actually, if you've ever been to a recycling plant that does that. If they're not out in the middle of nowhere, if they're quite close to a town, they've got to be careful of the smell. So what they do is they either set up a water system, so it's like a hose that goes all the way around, and it sprays perfume in the air, I know, sounds ridiculous, especially if it's like a countryside area. Or they, this is the funny part, right? So we're recycling, we're being green, but the biofilter that they use to remove the smell from the air is actually oak, and you need about 10 ton of it. And you have all the oak in the open area, and you would literally put the air which this gives off inside buildings through that oak to actually get rid of the smell. I wouldn't even charge for mature male. I would rather him get his free con and create more within the country. Yeah, man. I'm paying, I think, £40 for a mature male. I'm just speaking to the guy, hopefully getting it past to me at the show, which is a Violociceps. So if you've got an adult female one of those, Lewis, we can have a double bash with him. My Violociceps molted about 2 months ago. So she's all primed up, ready to go. She's had a massive dubia yesterday. And I'll feed her an adult hisser, maybe 2 of those before the end of the month. That's why you get bits of plastic in the sacks. They don't sift it properly. It's not the sifting process is like a big, massive shaking machine. It goes up a conveyor belt. It's got a big magnet, so all the metal bits come out, and it goes through like a big sieve thing where it's supposed to catch the majority of the plastic, but obviously you don't. Though the compost recycling plants are one of the worst. You go there and you end up stinking of it, and the inside of your van smells of it for a few hours. And in the summer, there's fucking flies. That's worst. And then there's a place where I go as well, just outside of Coventry, that deal with food waste. And what they do with food waste is they burn it off. They burn it in a way that it's supposed to be environmentally friendly. Don't ask me how. I have no idea. But they burn it off in such a way it's supposed to be environmentally friendly. And I was there working on one of their machines, and this Arctic lorry turned up, and it had something like 20 ton of rotting onions in it. They took the top off, and my God, I was nearly sick there and then. It was so bad. I mean, 20 ton of rotten onion. Oh, could you imagine? But it's 11:45. I think we're going to call it a night in a minute or two. And yeah, pop off the beddy times. Or maybe I'll continue editing Thursday's video, I think, and then I can chill out tomorrow night instead of doing it tomorrow, especially with Tyra being in bed already. Lewis has got a few males he's looking for. Let me know. I know somebody. I think I might have already asked you, Lewis. I know somebody with a versicola mature male. Well, I don't think that's public knowledge just yet. Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's time to end the stream. Close our little eyes, pull up the bedclothes, and go to sleep. He sleeps. Rotten Spuds is the worst scene. Some getting tipped at a farm. It was black slimy shit. Enough to bring a tear to a glass eye, says Michael. Oh.
I mean, anything rotten is
What am I done?
normally pretty bad.
Meat, mate. Meat. Rotten meat is just the worst. I tell you what,
No,
another one. A smell that should be nice is beef, but I've worked in. There's another place in Coventry. They have meat brought in a lorry, in a refrigerated lorry, so it's half a cow hanging up, and it's on hooks. So you pull it, and the hooks are on wheels. And as it comes to the door, they have a metal spike on hydraulics, and this spike goes into the beef, lifts it off the hook, puts it on another hook that's in the warehouse, and then you can push it to where it's supposed to be. It's all like you have to wear everything and all the rest of it, but the smell in there is literally like death. It doesn't smell bad, but you can literally, it's literally a smell of death. It's ever such a strange smell.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers, D. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I got burped on by a tiger.
Ooh.
I was near the tiger and it burped and it bloody stunk. I was like, oh, gotta be.
I tell you what stinks. That's Layla's farts. She's 12, but Jesus, she could drop a rugby team.
So, and like, when we had ocelots stink. Ocelots really stink.
You want to go buy One Lip Sewerage Works? It stinks. Yeah, I'm not a fan of working in sewerage works. I have done on road sweepers and what. Another one is not an abattoir, but where they burn all the dead carcasses. So where if an animal dies in the zoo, they have to be burnt off, and they go to these incendiary places, and they literally just pile them all together before they get burnt. And the smell from that is, just incredible. Absolutely incredible.
There's also a place that we get a lot of our meat from as well.
What, for the zoo?
That's what place supply a lot of zoos with the horse meat. That's what a lot of zoos. That's what a lot of us use for our large carnivores. Is horse, because it's illegal to bury horses. So you've either got to incinerate them, or if they're if there's no medications in them, then the meat's good, you send it to animal food.
Michael's 5 minutes away from a sewage plant. Its rank. We can get onto the local council nowadays, and they can stop the smell. They did that because near where I grew up, the town centre would actually smell of dead animal being burnt because of this processing plant. Now it doesn't, because obviously the council's laws and regulations and smell regulations have changed.
Well, so you get some of that, yeah, don't necessarily sort of smell, because I mean, was it Yorkshire Wildlife Park? That's all built around the sewage works. There's a sewage works basically in the middle of the zoo.
Wow.
And so that's the reason why they've been able to build quite a big zoo on originally not a lot of money because no one else wanted to build there. Sort of thing. So the council was just like, well, we want things going in, so they built a really good zoo.
Fair enough.
And it's expanding a lot.
I think I'm gonna end the stream because I'm feeling pretty tired now, and I think it's showing. If you've been with us from the start, thank you so much. To people that have donated with super chats and stuff, man, that's just absolutely epic. Massive shout out to all the channel members. Everything's going back into the channel, as you know, and everybody that has been there from the very start of tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to us all waffle on for 2 or 3 hours, however long it's been.
Well, 3 hours 40, according to the top.
But yeah, good night, everybody. Take care.
Bye, guys.